professor of the Ninja Academy. By teaching, I can become stronger. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 101 The Strength of Eight Gates and Yanu. Before leaving with Asuma, Miyu gave Sarutobi Hiruzen an appraisal. He was curious about how rich the skills of the ninjutsu professor who claimed to be proficient in all the ninjutsu of Konoha would be. Name: Sarutobi Hiruzen. Chakra: 170,000. Skills: Combination Ninjutsu. Mastery: 13,000 15,000. Fire Chakra Nature Change. Mastery: 7,200 15,000. Earth Chakra Nature Change. Mastery: 6,000 15,000. Water Chakra Nature Change. Mastery: 4,800 15,000. Sarutobi Hiruzen's skill bar is indeed long, and it is so densely packed that Miyu roughly calculated that there must be thousands of ninjutsu. Judging from the number, the title of ninjutsu professor is well deserved. After all, Sarutobi Hiruzen does not have the Sharingan to copy, so he has to practice them one by one. However, the proficiency of most ninjutsu is only at the entry and proficient level, and the number of mastery level is not large. But Miyu thinks it is very abnormal. He saw a lot of familiar advanced ninjutsu and even secret techniques on it. In terms of nature change, Sarutobi Hiruzen's 5 basic attributes have reached the mastery level, but the proficiency is different. The fire attribute is the highest, and the others are lower. It seems that the system's mastery level is more valuable than I thought, Miyu thought in his heart. In terms of the level of nature change of the 2 attributes of water and fire chakra, he is higher than Sarutobi Hiruzen. Of course, in actual fighting, he will be killed instantly by Sarutobi Hiruzen now, because chakra, physical skills, combat experience, and even ninjutsu configuration Sarutobi Hiruzen crushes him. After looking at Sarutobi Hiruzen's panel, Miyu knew what a real all-round ninja is. Ninjutsu, physical skills, illusions, sealing techniques, secret techniques, forbidden techniques, and a bunch of other techniques can be found on Sarutobi Hiruzen's skill column. Miyu can only say that it is not good to comment on Sarutobi Hiruzen's panel. After teaching Asuma, Miyu returned to the main city of Konoha, called Minato and Kushina, and showed them the whole process of making the magic Mapo tofu. Kushina and Minato also saw how soybeans turned into meats as they wished. Even after watching the cooking process and tasting the taste, Kushina still felt it was magical. Miyu, how did you think of making soybeans taste like meat? Kushina couldn't help asking. It was a random whim. Miyu thought about it and said he couldn't say that these dishes were taught to him by others, which would reveal a bigger flaw. He could only shamelessly say that he developed them himself. Then Minato asked Miyu about the progress of his sealing technique. It had been almost a week since he last taught him the sealing technique. Miyu told him some of his thoughts after watching the 5-finger seal. The difficulty of the 5-finger seal is much more difficult than the 3-finger seal. You can learn it slowly by reading more knowledge about the sealing technique and practicing diligently. Minato explained. The 5-finger seal is different from the previous 1-finger seal and 3-finger seal. The difficulty is particularly increased. Minato is worried that Miyu will question him because of the long-term lack of progress. Miyu nodded, and naturally led the topic to the sealing technique, and talked about some problems he encountered in the sealing technique. Miyu did not ask about the specific practice of a certain sealing technique, but some questions about the knowledge of sealing techniques. If he asked about the problems he encountered in the 5-finger seal, with the sealing technique level of Kushina and Minato, they could directly guess his actual practice progress. On weekend nights, the disciples did not have to practice with him. Miyu practiced alone in the southern forest. 5-finger seal. Miyu concentrated chakra on the 5 fingers of his right hand and slapped it on his shadow clone. The black sealing technique pattern appeared on the body of the shadow clone, and the technique was successfully cast. Next, I can practice the 5-element seal. Muyu thought to himself as he looked at the five-finger seal that had already been introduced on the panel. After finishing the five-finger seal training, he could barely be considered a seal ninja, although he was a seal ninja who didn't know any formal seal technique at present. But Muyu didn't care. He learned the seal technique not to expand his skill base, but to solve the problem of the seal of the root of tongue disaster. After getting the five-element seal, he would directly use the proficiency scroll to upgrade to the proficient level and then learn the contract seal, and then upgrade the contract seal to the proficient level. After both seal techniques are proficient, he will have a lot more knowledge of seal techniques, and then he can try to study the curse seal of the root. Muyu walked into the depths of the forest while using the perception ninjutsu. Today he wanted to try to see what level his limit strength could reach. It has been a month since he obtained the mastery level of rock breathing. As long as the breathing method is introduced, one can greatly improve one's ability by performing full concentration breathing, and the proficient level of Qingzong is to maintain the body in a weakened version of full concentration breathing for 24 hours. For Muyu, Qingzong is very important because it is equivalent to his body being exercised all the time. In a month, Muyu could clearly feel that his body was getting stronger, and the effect was much better than that of his own physical training. Even because of his stronger body, the natural growth rate of chakra became a little faster. As his body gradually became stronger, Muyu prepared to try the combination of 8 gates and rock breathing. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar 6 = 9 plus book _bar. First published this novel, he mastered the first 3 gates of the 8 gates, which are the safe zone of the 8 gates and will not put too much pressure on the body. Open the door. Open. Muyu did not have the mastery of the 8 gates like Might Guy in the plot, so he could only open it slowly from the first gate. With the use of the 8 gates, Muyu felt that a certain restriction in his body was opened, and the restricted chakra gushed out, and his body gradually became stronger, and his strength and speed were greatly improved. When Muyu opened the 3rd gate, his body had become red with blood, his chakra increased sharply, and he exuded green energy all over his body. Muyu gave himself an appraisal of the state of the 3rd gate. Name: Hanyu Muyu. Chakra: 23,200. Chakra directly exceeded 20,000, but Muyu could feel that the chakra in his body was extremely violent at this moment, and he could no longer perform any delicate operations or release ninjutsu. However, Muyu had expected this. He took a deep breath, inhaled a large amount of oxygen into his body, and entered the fully concentrated breathing state of rock breathing, and his physical fitness was once again improved in all aspects. Muyu casually punched out, and the air shockwave driven by the fist wind alone overwhelmed more than a dozen large trees. There was no need to use chakra blessing, and the stone in his hand was as easy to break as tofu. The running speed was just like using the instant body technique. Muyu exhaled a breath of white air to cancel the 8 gates of Danjia and the state of fully concentrated breathing, and a strong sense of fatigue came over him. The 8 gates of Danjia superimposed on rock breathing did indeed improve amazingly. Muyu did not dare to use too much strength, fearing that the noise would attract Anbu ninjas or root ninjas. However, although it was strong, it was also a great burden on the body. Muyu felt very tired after only 3 minutes. This is the case without using the markings. Muyu felt that if he had opened the markings just now, he might have fainted directly after the markings were removed. After this experiment, his conjecture was proved that the breathing of rock was indeed very compatible with the 8 gates of ninjutsu and could increase the upper limit. With an additional explosive trump card, Muyu felt a little more secure. Now, except for the limited chakra and lack of combat experience, he has quite a few means in various aspects. The training plan is almost done, and I can let the disciples start practicing the breathing method. Muyu thought to himself. Chapter 102 begins to teach breathing techniques. On Sunday morning, Muyu went to the South Forest as usual, ready to start a new round of teaching. However, he did not start teaching breathing techniques right away, but first let Might Guy and Obito compete in today's running race. He used the appraisal technique yesterday to check Obito's progress in shaving, and he was almost getting started. If he worked hard today, he should be almost there. Today, We will change the rules a little bit. The questions that the winner is exempted from will be added to the loser, Miyu said with a smile. Then the loser will have to do 80 questions at most. Obito was already a little panicked. According to Miyu's new rules, if the winner is exempted from all questions, and the loser fails to break through the limit, he will have to take 80 questions. It's not that he has never won before, but he won less and lost more. Once the rules are changed, the questions will be doubled. Hearing Miyu's words, even Might Guy's forehead was covered with a layer of sweat. He won more, but he also lost sometimes. This is a special event on Sunday. After today, the rules will remain the same as before, Miyu explained. Obito and Might Guy both breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, it was only one day. If it was like this all the time, it would be too stressful. Although they had experienced the days of fighting hundreds of questions in one battle before, those hard days had passed for a while, and they had buried them deep in their memories and didn't want to touch them. Why is there this special event today? Is today a special day? Obito asked, puzzled. Because today is the 111th anniversary of my being a teacher, Miyu replied. Although it was a perfunctory statement, today is indeed his 111th day as a teacher, and it is also the 111th day since he traveled to the Naruto world. Okay, let's get ready to start the game, Miyu said. After Obito and Might Guy quickly finished the warm-up exercises, they stood at the starting point designated by Miyu. Obito, come on. Nohara Rin, who was practicing on the side, smiled and cheered Obito up. I beat Kai in the actual combat test, and there will be no surprises in this competition. Obito showed a confident smile. 80 questions, and Rin is watching on the side. I must not lose this time, Obito thought silently in his heart. Ready, go, whoosh. As soon as Miyu finished speaking, Obito burst out with chakra and rushed out, making a super start. With the pressure of 80 questions, Might Guy was also full of motivation and also used the shave super start. Sensing the increasingly loud running sound, Obito felt more and more urgent. He gritted his teeth and ran, ignoring the fatigue of his leg muscles and using the shave again. But in a competition of willpower, Might Guy would not admit defeat. Seeing Obito start to speed up, Might Guy also gathered his strength and started to speed up, chasing after Obito's back at a high speed. His physique was stronger than Obito, and he had already mastered the shave, so as long as he got close to Obito, Obito would basically lose. As the distance to the finish line got closer and closer, the distance between Might Guy and Obito was also getting closer. Whoosh! Seeing that he was close to the finish line, Might Guy directly turned on the sprint mode. His figure disappeared on the spot, and he moved forward a lot at once. Obito also started to sprint, using the shave that he had not yet fully learned to charge towards the finish line. The two were getting closer and closer. Obito could already see a green figure moving quickly from the corner of his eye. It was Might Guy in a tights. It's bad. Obito felt something was wrong. He knew that Might Guy must have made some progress this time. I can't lose. Obito poured all his strength into his legs and ran as hard as he could. Shave. The two used shave at the same time, and their bodies disappeared from where they were. Who won? Nohara Rin only felt that the two figures suddenly blurred, and then the next moment they appeared at the finish line together. Obito won. Kai won 70 questions. Miyu announced the result. In the last sprint just now, Obito completely learned how to shave, mastered the technique of 3 superpositions, and won the game with the advantage of a closer distance. Huff, ha, ha. Obito collapsed on the ground and gasped. He felt his chest burning, and even his breath was hot. Although he was very tired, Obito was very happy. This was 80 fewer questions, which was equivalent to losing twice less, and he won in front of Nohara Rin. Thinking of Nohara Rin's presence, Obito stood up tremblingly, even though his legs were tired. Obito, can you rest for a while? Nohara Rin asked with concern. It's okay, it's just a short distance. It won't be a problem. Obito controlled his legs not to tremble, pretending to be relaxed. It turns out that the distance is a bit short, then double it tomorrow. Miyu smiled with an expression of sudden enlightenment. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 = 9 plus book _ bar first published this novel. Obito, it turns out that you still have some energy left. Obito, Then let's run together again. I feel I still have room for improvement. Might Guy temporarily suppressed his fear of the questions and said with a passionate face, putting aside the fact that he had to do the questions. Might Guy really liked this kind of competition. Although he lost just now, he did improve. Obito didn't know for a moment whether Might Guy was trying to undermine him or really wanted to run with him again. Actually, I just used literary writing techniques. You misunderstood my meaning. Obito tried to fool him. Nohara Rin attacked again, poking Obito's thigh with her finger, and Obito's thigh began to tremble uncontrollably. Obito, don't be so stubborn, you're already shaking like this. If you double the distance, you'll be too tired to get up. Nohara Rin sighed. Obito felt tired, and thought that everything should be destroyed. He was tired. He just wanted to simply show off in front of Nohara Rin. Why is it so difficult? Okay, take a break and prepare to learn new ninjutsu. This time I'm going to teach you a very difficult secret technique. You must learn it seriously, Miyu said. Extremely difficult secret technique? Isn't it very powerful? Obito suddenly became energetic. Generally the more difficult the ninjutsu, the more powerful it is. Yes, it's difficult to learn, but if you learn it, it will greatly enhance your strength. Miyu nodded and said, after the localization of the breathing method, it has great power, and the difficulty is also maxed out. According to the classification of the Hokage, his two existing breathing methods are both S-level forbidden techniques, especially the rock breathing, which is extremely difficult to practice, almost as difficult as the 8 gates, so one can only immerse oneself in practice. Teacher, should I learn it too? I am a little slow in learning ninjutsu. Might Guy scratched his head and asked. His talent in ninjutsu is a little poor, and it is difficult for him to learn the 3-body technique. You have to learn, but you learn it differently from them. Anyway, just believe that you can learn it. Miyu replied. After the two of them had a rest, Miyu called Shisui and prepared to start teaching the breathing method. I have set up a reader group. You can join it. I usually look in the group for inspiration. Chapter 103, Terrifyingly Powerful Breathing Technique. Shisui and Obito, you two will learn the breathing of fire, and Kai, you will learn the breathing of rock. Miyu said the name of the ninjutsu they were going to learn next. Since Miyu had reminded them before that what they were going to learn this time was difficult and they had to learn it seriously, even Obito, who was the most jumpy, did not speak and listened to Miyu's lecture carefully. Since the breathing of rock was the most difficult to learn, Miyu first asked the shadow clone to explain the theoretical knowledge of the breathing method to Shisui and Obito, and he began to teach Might Guy the breathing of rock. The most important point of the breathing method is breathing. Breathing with skill and full concentration will inhale a large amount of oxygen into every cell of the body, thereby improving strength and speed in all directions. Miyu explained the principle of the breathing method. If you can learn the breathing of rock and enter the state of full concentration breathing, not only will your strength increase, but your body's healing speed will also increase, and your spirit will be more active. When you can maintain full concentration breathing 24 hours a day, then your physical strength will become several times stronger than it is now. If you master the breathing of rock, you will be on the road to becoming the strongest physical ninja. Miyu painted a beautiful future for Might Guy after he learned the breathing of rock. What a powerful technique, Might Guy said in surprise with his eyes wide open. It can actually double his physical training effect. What a concept. Now he can only achieve the effect after 3 years of practice, but after learning Qingzong, he may achieve it in 1 or 1.5 years. This is too attractive for Might Guy, who is ready to go all the way on the road of physical ninja. Okay, please stay away. Miyu was ready to demonstrate the true power of rock breathing to Might Guy. Rock breathing, full concentration breathing, finger gun. Miyu inhaled a large amount of oxygen into his body, stimulated the power of every cell, and finally poured it into his index finger, and then combined with chakra, pointed at the river surface 80 meters away. Whoosh! Exclamation mark. The powerful finger force directly set off a huge gust of wind, and a transparent shock wave flew quickly towards the river surface. The next moment, a huge explosion sounded instantly. Boom! Exclamation mark. The river was roaring loudly, and the waves raised by the explosion were more than 10 meters high, and even some fish were blown to the shore. There are trees over 20 meters high everywhere here. Muyu would not dare to use too much force if the trees were shorter. This is the power that can be released by the full concentration of the rock breathing. Muyu put down his hand and said, "What a destructive power." Might Guy was shocked. You have to know that they are more than 80 meters away from the river. With such a long distance, there is still such power. Who can withstand this finger poking at a person? You will be stronger than this in the future. Muyu smiled and touched Might Guy's head and said, "Well, I will work hard to practice." Might Guy was already very excited at this time. His mind was full of breathing methods and Muyu's finger just now. "Then let's start practicing. Stand up." Muyu began to teach formally. Might Guy heard Muyu's words and stood up straight with his chest and head raised. "Relax your upper body and inhale, and stand firm with your lower body." Muyu began the most basic and most important breathing of the breathing method. Might Guy did what Muyu said, but Muyu shook his head and said, "Breathe hard with your abdomen. Remember to use your abdomen, not open your mouth." Then Muyu demonstrated several times, and asked Might Guy to try again. "Teacher, I breathed hard, but I didn't feel the way you said." Might Guy scratched his head and said, "Don't worry, take your time, just keep practicing." Muyu smiled gently. Rock breathing is too difficult, and Muyu's requirement for Might Guy is that he will be considered successful if he can learn it within a year. Might Guy nodded and continued to practice according to Muyu's method. A shadow clone was separated from Might Guy, and Muyu went to Obito and Shisui. "Teacher Muyu, is the move you just used the one that Guy wants to learn?" "It feels so strong," Obito asked excitedly when Muyu's real body came over. They were not far away, and Muyu's move was really noisy, so they also saw it. "Yes, I just used a physical technique while breathing in the state of full concentration of rock breathing." Muyu nodded. "If Akai learns rock breathing, it will be amazing," Obito exclaimed. "Just a physical technique has such power." "Don't worry. The fire breathing you are going to practice is not worse than the rock breathing that Akai practices, and it can also greatly improve your strength," Muyu said with a smile. Both breathing methods are considered top-level forbidden techniques, and it can only be said that it depends on the level of the user. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6=9 plus book_bar released this novel for the first time. "Teacher Muyu, please show us the power of fire breathing." Obito looked at Muyu with expectation. Even Shisui showed a curious look. Of course, Muyu would not refuse such a small request from his disciple. He changed his breathing rhythm, switched from the regular breathing of rock breathing to the regular breathing of fire breathing, and walked towards the river. After you learn the breath of flame, you can perform full concentration breathing of the breath of flame to increase the speed of the change of the nature of the fire attribute chakra and enhance the power of the flame. If you can maintain full concentration breathing all day long, the two effects of accelerated nature change and enhanced flame power will become normalized, and there will be a stronger burst of power, Muyu said as he prepared to perform ninjutsu. Accelerated nature change, making the flame stronger. Shisui was shocked by Muyu's words. He learned theoretical knowledge well and knew what Muyu said these two meant. It was a rough and simple increase in the upper limit of fire escape. At the same time, it can also enhance physical strength and recovery ability to a certain extent. Muyu continued to say that these are the abilities of breathing methods. When they reached the river, Muyu directly formed a seal and performed ninjutsu. Fire escape middle. Fire dragon flame bomb. Muyu opened his mouth and spit out a large piece of flame that was dancing like a mad dragon. The flames were divided into three directions, front, left, and right, rushing towards the river. For a time, a sea of fire more than 20 meters wide directly covered the river surface. Large flames fell into the water. Water vapor was continuously generated, and a large amount of white mist enveloped the surroundings. Muyu used wind escape to blow away the water vapor. In fact, Muyu has stronger ninjutsu. Whether it is the master level 2 Koku or Hao Miyu, they are more powerful than the fire dragon flame bomb. But the range of those two ninjutsu is too large. If Muyu burns, I'm afraid she will burn the nearby forests. So strong. I really want to learn it, Obito said honestly. Isn't this flame breathing an S-level forbidden technique? Shisui was very surprised. Muyu's strength became more and more confusing in his mind. Every time he felt that he had guessed what Muyu's strength was, Muyu could always come up with something new that shocked him. Chapter 104 Students Progress. Then learn it well. Breathing techniques are difficult to learn, and the learning process is not easy, Muyu said with a serious look on his face. Although the breathing of fire is easier to learn than the breathing of rock, that is relatively speaking, the actual difficulty is also full. The significance of the breathing method exceeds any ninjutsu or physical technique he has taught before. After demonstrating the power of fire style under the breathing of fire, Muyu also began to formally teach the two people how to practice the breathing of fire. Stand up straight, relax your upper body and stand firm with your lower body. Breathe with your abdomen, let oxygen enter your body. Enter the chakra points and meridians. The difference between the breathing of fire and the breathing of rock appeared. The breathing of rock is mainly to strengthen the strength of the whole body, and the others are secondary, while the breathing of fire focuses on interacting with chakra to enhance the power of fire style. Huff, fu, fu. Obito opened his mouth wide and took in a lot of air. Bang! Muyu tapped Obito's head with two fingers together, then gently chopped Obito's abdomen with a knife and said, "Pay attention to the abdominal force, not to open your mouth and breathe randomly. Pay attention to the rhythm and technique." Obito was a little confused. He didn't expect breathing to be so difficult. Shisui, who was able to master ninjutsu quickly in the past, also encountered difficulties in breathing, and couldn't find the key points. However, these were all within Muyu's expectations, and good talent was limited. During the time, Muyu ran back and forth, teaching one side for an hour and then going to the other side to repeat the cycle. After a morning, the breathing proficiency of the three disciples was still 0, which made Muyu deeply understand the difficulty of breathing. At noon, Muyu returned to her home in the main city of Konoha to find and collect the materials of the students' strength tests, and then took them away when it was time for tutoring. Maybe because Muyu said she would send the materials, or maybe Sarutobi Hiruzen was not busy recently, Muyu met Sarutobi Hiruzen again. Sandame-sama, Muyu greeted Sarutobi Hiruzen and handed over the packed materials. "This is the data of the student's strength test," Muyu explained. "Well, thank you, Muyu." Sarutobi Hiruzen took out the data and looked through it with a smile. The data was sorted by Muyu. The top is the results of the group test at the beginning of the special training, and the back is the results of the strength test every week. There are also scoring standards marked on the score sheet. For example, Group C and Group B are the scoring standards for 4th-year students, while Group A is the scoring standard for graduated ninjas. The third generation took a rough look and saw that from the data, after 3 weeks of special training, all students have made considerable progress. If Muyu did not falsify the data, then this special training must have been a very successful special training, which also proved Muyu's teaching ability. This time it is not as simple as a class. The special training students include all 4th-year students, students with outstanding performance from grades 1 to 3, and a small number of graduated genin. The total number of students exceeds 300. Muyu, you did a good job. Thank you for your hard work, Sarutobi Hiruzen praised. The students have also practiced hard, and it is not just my credit, Muyu said modestly. Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded in satisfaction, then said with a smile, "I will go over to see you when you have the final test of this special training. It shouldn't bother you, right?" "No trouble." If the students knew that you were coming, the third generation, they would be very excited, Muyu said with a smile. This is to be honest. Although Sarutobi Hiruzen had a bad reputation in his previous life, Sarutobi Hiruzen's popularity in Konoha is not bad. After all, he has been the Hokage for decades. After reporting to the biggest boss, Muyu took Asuma to practice. Alas, Teacher Muyu really shouldn't let the old man go, Asuma sighed during the break. Once Sarutobi Hiruzen left, it would be useless for Asuma Sarutobi to have good grades, because he was the son of the third generation, and it was natural for him to have good grades. Asuma, have you forgotten what I said before? Don't care about other people's evaluations. You don't live for others, but for yourself. Muyu began to talk therapy. After drinking all kinds of chicken soup, Asuma recovered and practiced more seriously. On Monday, Muyu told the students who were in summer training that the third Hokage would come to watch their final exam. The students were immediately excited, because this was the third Hokage. If you randomly pick 10 students in the ninja school and ask them about their dreams, 8 out of 10 will dream of becoming a Hokage. Of course, they are very excited to have the opportunity to meet the current Hokage. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus book _ bar released this novel for the first time. Even the third Hokage will come. Izumo, this is a good opportunity for us to become famous in Konoha, Gangziti said excitedly. Indeed, if we can make the third Hokage remember our names, we will be able to rise to prominence in the future. Shinu Izumo nodded and said, equally excited, you should save your energy. One of you will be eliminated in the first round and the other in the second round. Even if the Hokage comes, he won't notice you, Hongdu complained. Even she felt that this was unrealistic. A great man like the Sandaime-sama will surely see through that Izumo and I are rough diamonds that need to be polished. People like you who only use brute force will never understand. The one-round elimination of the gang Zetsu counteract. Kamatsuki Izumo nodded in agreement. Then I will let you two rough diamonds know the power of brute force. Anko punched the two men and made them flee. After hearing the news, Yui Kurenai practiced more diligently, wanting to improve her strength as much as possible, so as not to be easily defeated by the students in school like last time. After hearing the news, Obito directly imagined the future. If the Sandaime-sama saw my excellent performance, he would not praise me for my potential to become Hokage. Ha ha ha. Obito laughed, ignoring the eyes of the people around him. Oh no, it would be terrible if Gang Zetsu and Kamatsuki Izumo talked nonsense again. Ebisa felt that he should remind his two younger brothers before the exam. If such news reached the ears of the Hokage, his ninja career would end before it even began. Everyone be quiet, continue to practice, let the Sandaime see your progress. Muyu smiled gently, and nodded secretly in his heart when he saw that all of the students' emotions were mobilized. Although the summer special training is not long, only 5 weeks, the actual practice time is not small, more than 40 hours a week. Based on the experience of Class 1, Grade 1, Muyu feels that he can trigger an improvement reward. The only thing Muyu is worried about is that it almost didn't trigger, so he tries his best to make everyone practice diligently. The reader group is over there in the introduction, and there is usually one under the latest chapter. The lack of it may be due to the delay in displaying it too early. In addition, I ask for some hard-earned monthly tickets. It's another day of 10,000. I am almost exhausted and squeezed dry. Chapter 105 Chidori. Those of you who have learned the instant body technique, please stand up, Muyu said to everyone in Group A. Shisui, Obito, Might Guy, Asuma and some others who have learned the instant body technique walked out of the queue as Muyu said. In the last 2 weeks, in addition to basic training, the next time will mainly be spent on practicing the instant body technique. Muyu said the next training arrangement. He said to the students who have already learned the instant body technique, those of you who have already learned it can decide on your own training during this period. You can learn from me as usual, or practice according to your own ideas. The instant body technique he was going to teach was naturally not shave, but the most popular instant body technique in Konoha, which was the D-level physical technique he taught Shisui at the beginning. The status of this instant body technique in Konoha is equivalent to the status of the 3 body techniques in the ninja school. It is a physical technique that is not difficult but very practical. Compared with those instant body techniques with nature changes, such as water instant body and lightning instant body, the advantage of this D-level physical technique is that it has low requirements and is easy to learn. It is very suitable for Jinin and Chunin to learn. Even some Jonin are still using it, and it is very cost-effective. Muyu had previously asked students to practice chakra control and strengthen their bodies in order to prepare for the learning of the instant body technique. The instant body technique mainly involves concentrating chakra on the soles of the feet and legs, and using chakra to strengthen the body to achieve the effect of high-speed movement. There are two key points here. One is that the body must be able to withstand the stimulation of chakra, and the other is to control the amount of chakra used. If the body cannot withstand the high-speed movement brought about by the stimulation of chakra, it will cause damage to the body, and the body will quickly fatigue and speed will be affected during the battle. The sole of the foot is the most difficult part to condense chakra. It is not easy to condense chakra on the sole of the foot, let alone control the output amount. If too much chakra is used, it will not only lead to a waste of chakra, but also affect the use of the technique. It turns out that they have all mastered the instant body technique. No wonder it feels like their speed suddenly changed when they were fighting. Shiranui Genjin thought to himself as he looked at the people who walked out. The group of people who just walked out were basically those who performed well in the actual combat test. They were either graduated genin or strong students in school. We must learn this instant body technique as soon as possible. Otherwise we will definitely not get a good score in the final practical test. Obito said in his heart. Because of the incident last week, he had given up hope on life in the ninja school and turned to study the future path of ninja. So he didn't want to be defeated in the first round when the third generation came to watch the exam, so he had to persist for at least 2 more rounds. After a simple explanation, Muyu began to teach the students. He first demonstrated the instant body technique several times, and then asked the students to practice according to what he just said, while Muyu guided them on the side. If the students made mistakes in their practice, he would point them out and help them correct their mistakes. Muyu didn't just pay attention to Group A. He usually taught the 3 groups in a cycle in the order of ABC, and each group had a shadow clone to assist. If the main body stayed in a certain group, the students in other groups would not be able to receive the blessing of the skills he taught. Then Muyu went to Group B. The training progress of Group B was 1 level behind Group A after 3 weeks. Some people were still training in chakra control. However, this was also within Muyu's expectations. His requirements for Group B were only to complete chakra control training, strengthen physical skills, and improve the level of 3 body techniques. If these goals were achieved, they would actually be more qualified than many graduating genin. Some graduating genin did not even master tree climbing, and they only learned the 3 body techniques, and their physical skills were mediocre. After completing chakra control training, not only can they have 2 more skills, climbing trees and treading water, but they also lay the foundation for learning more ninjutsu in the future. No matter how strong the physical skills are, there is no such thing as too much. Proficient use of the 3 body techniques can have unexpected effects in battle. Those who have not completed chakra control training are still mainly training chakra control, while those who have completed training are mainly practicing physical skills and 3 body techniques, as well as various physical training. With high proficiency in the 3 body techniques and combined with teaching skills, the students' proficiency in the 3 body techniques has increased rapidly. Muyu saw that some students' proficiency in the clone technique was above 300 points at the entry level. After teaching Group B the 3 body techniques for a while, Muyu went to Group C. Group C is the slowest group, and they just started chakra control training not long ago. This is also related to the composition of the students in Group C. The students in Group C are either lower grade students or 4th grade students with average grades. These students either have a short training time, or did not practice well before and did not lay a good foundation, or simply have poor talent, so the progress will be much slower. It's not that Muyu doesn't want to teach more, but she can only teach in this way. Forcing Group C to follow the progress of Groups AB will only have the effect of forcing the growth of seedlings. And after 3 weeks of study, some students have actually been promoted to Group B. The secret of climbing a tree is to find the subtle amount of chakra that can be absorbed on the tree, and then maintain it unchanged. Muyu walked up a big tree as if walking on flat ground, talking about the skills that have been said countless times. Although the words are still the same, in fact, when you practice to different stages, you will have different feelings when you hear the same sentence again. Teacher Muyu, I think I have completed my training. Hongdu ran quickly on the tree, and after running vertically, he could run horizontally. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus underscore. Well, You have completed the tree climbing training. Next, practice the substitution technique and transformation technique. In the afternoon, start the water treading practice. Miyu nodded and said, Hongdu has a good talent for ninja. Her learning speed is one of the fastest among the 3 groups of students. You should know that Hongdu has just practiced for 1 semester. It is very good to complete the tree climbing training so quickly while taking into account other exercises. Okay, Hongdu, who was recognized by Miyu, jumped up and down on the tree. After successfully completing the training, Hongdu did not forget his 2 good brothers. He ran directly to Shinayu Izumo and Gang Ziti, who were still testing the big tree, to point out, don't be afraid of falling, just concentrate chakra on the soles of your feet and close your eyes and rush forward, Hongdu instructed seriously. Gang Ziti's mouth twitched. If he really practiced according to Hongdu's method, he would have to live a life of being fed by others every day in the future. His legs were about to break, and he still rushed forward with his eyes closed. I was personally commented by teacher Miyu that the training was completed, so don't be ungrateful, Hongdu said with a smile, taking revenge on the 2 scumbags who had deceived her into not reviewing. Alas, you and I, brothers, have fallen to this point. Shinayu Izumo looked at Gang Ziti with a sad face and said, damn it, if there was a theoretical exam, how dare the little thief Hongdu be so arrogant. Gang Ziti hated why there was no theoretical exam in the special training, otherwise he would not be unable to refute Hongdu's output. Encouraged by Hongdu, Gang Ziti and Shinayu Izumo practiced harder. Miyu kept wandering back and forth between the 3 groups until the end of get out of class. Complete a large class teaching, evaluation, awards, wind style middle. Fierce wind palm, lightning style middle. Chidori. Looking at the system's rewards, Miyu's mind recalled the memory of Chidori. Naruto has various Rasengan, and Sasuke also has various Chidori. This is also an ninjutsu with relatively large plasticity. I'm a little stuck, so I'll post 1 chapter first. Today is still the 5th update day with 10,000 chapters. Chapter 106, Breath of Fire. The afternoon reward was a little less impressive than the morning one, just a water escape and earth escape of ordinary power, but as a reward for 4 hours of class, Miyu thought it was pretty good. At night, Miyu continued to practice breathing techniques with Shisui and Might Guy. The 3 of them had not yet found the breathing feeling of breathing techniques, and stayed at the initial breathing training. Remember, it is a skillful breathing, not just taking a big breath. It is a breathing technique. Miyu kept emphasizing, skill, skill, skill. Obito kept repeating this word, trying to hypnotize himself to breathe skillfully. Just recite the hint in your mind, don't say it out loud. Miyu poked Obito's abdomen and said. Obito opened his mouth in pain and took a breath of cold air. He never thought that breathing, something that people are born with, actually has skills and is so difficult to learn. It is much more difficult than the Great Dragon Fire and Chakra Nature Change. The practice of the Great Dragon Fire did not succeed, but at least it could spit out some sparks. The progress of practicing the nature change was slow, and the temperature of the hand could melt the ice a little. But while practicing the breathing method, Obito felt that he was almost full of air but couldn't breathe out anything. Obito felt that if he continued like this, even if he improved in the great fireball he practiced, he might not be able to learn the breathing method. But seeing that Shisui had no clue, Obito was relieved. If Shisui was like this, it seemed really difficult. Obito and Shisui who were practicing the breathing of fire were like this, not to mention the more difficult breathing of rock on the side of Might Guy, who also made no progress. But Miyu was not too worried about Might Guy. The breathing of rock, which was hard-working and resolute and had a rock-like will, was very suitable for Might Guy. Might Guy just needed to practice as hard as usual. On the second day of practicing breathing, the 3 disciples still had 0 proficiency. On the night of the 3rd day, one disciple finally had a breakthrough and successfully gained a little proficiency. It was Obito who was practicing the breathing of fire. Teacher Miyu, I seem to feel something different. Could it be that I can do it? Obito suddenly said while practicing the breathing method. Not really learned, but officially entered the practice of breathing techniques. Miyu, who had been watching from the side, replied. He used the appraisal to check Obito's proficiency. and it was indeed no longer zero. He thought that Shisui would complete the breakthrough of zero first, but unexpectedly it was Obito. Muyu thought about it and felt that it might be because Obito's personality was more in line with the breath of fire, so he grasped the feeling first. The breath of fire is suitable for people who are enthusiastic and cheerful, and their hearts are as blazing as fire. Shisui's personality is not introverted, but he is a little far from being passionate. Well, grasp this feeling and continue to go deeper. When you are familiar with it, you can enter the next training. Muyu nodded and said, this kind of breathing practice of exhaling and inhaling is just the beginning of the introduction. There are many training links later. The next training link is to guide the breathing by adjusting the body posture to achieve different strengthening effects. In the original breathing method, this link is to train different breathing type moves. After localization, it is no longer necessary to hold the sword, so it has become a variety of different strengthening effects. Because it is a beginner who has just started to learn, it needs a specific posture to guide. After learning it, you can control it freely in your body. Finally, the formal training has begun. Obito couldn't help but pump his fist to celebrate. After 3 days of drinking the northwest wind, he finally got some feedback. Bang! Muyu tapped Obito's head with 2 fingers together, and pointed at Shisui, who was still practicing, and said, don't interfere with others' practice, and get familiar with this feeling. Obito closed his mouth and nodded, and began to practice again with a satisfied smile. Shisui's talent is comparable to Kakashi, and he learned it before Shisui, which is equivalent to winning Kakashi once. At the end of the 3rd day of practice, Shisui and Might Guy had no progress, and Obito got a little feeling. During the practice on Wednesday, Shisui kept doing various exercises, and his mind was still thinking about breathing methods. This was the first time he felt that he had no idea where to start with something. During the break, Shisui saw Obito and Asuma bragging about each other's fire escape. After thinking for a while, he walked to Obito's side and asked, Obito, can you describe the feeling of breathing in detail? Obito recalled, and then began to describe, it's like eating a bowl of hot ramen. A warm airflow rushes into the whole body. Obito tried to describe his feelings, and also supplemented with body language explanation. Feel a warm current. Shisui showed a thoughtful look. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 = 9 plus book _ bar. First release this novel. Asuma next to him was a little confused, feeling that the conversation between the two was irrelevant, especially Obito, who simply didn't know what he was talking about. Asuma didn't care about this little episode. Seeing that Yui Kurenai started practicing again, he ran over to practice. Then Shisui kept thinking about Obito's answer, trying to get some inspiration from it. When he went home to eat after class, Shisui was thinking about whether to eat ramen today. Shisui, why do you occasionally feel pain in your feet when using the instant body technique? Akayachiuo asked when he saw Shisui. I didn't feel the warm airflow. Shisui said an answer that he himself felt was stupid. Just when Akayachiuo was puzzled, Shisui changed his words and said, it should be that you didn't control the amount of chakra in your foot, so your foot was injured. So that's it. Shisui, what were you thinking about just now? I called you twice before you responded. Akayachiuo asked curiously. I was thinking about training, Shisui replied. No wonder those genin who have already graduated are not your opponents. You are so strong and you are still thinking about training all the time. Akayachiuo sighed. He was a little ashamed. This time he was the last one in Uchiha. There were 3 Uchiha in Group A when the strength test was conducted. Shisui and Obito were the top 2, and he was eliminated in the 3rd round. Shisui didn't say anything. He felt that Akayachiuo might have misunderstood him. Even Might Guy didn't think about training all the time. It was just because Shisui didn't make any progress in the breathing method that he was like this. Misunderstanding is misunderstanding. Shisui did not explain, went home after dinner and went to Muyu to continue practicing breathing techniques under Muyu's guidance. Soon the 4th day of practicing breathing techniques ended, and the situation was similar to the 3rd day, only Obito felt a little bit. It was not until the 5th day that new changes came, and Shisui's breathing of fire also showed a little proficiency. The airflow is like eating hot ramen. Shisui felt that Obito's description was unexpectedly appropriate. He could feel a stream of air inhaled from his mouth and constantly wandering along the chakra meridians. The 5th day of breathing technique training ended, and only Might Guy had not yet gained proficiency in breathing techniques, and was still trying to find the sense of air. Chapter 107, Might Guy Strikes Back. 5 days later, Might Guy still couldn't find the so-called feeling. On Wednesday, during training, Might Guy, Shisui, and Obito gathered together to discuss the practice of breathing techniques. You can also imagine the feeling of eating ramen, a stream of hot air entering your stomach. Obito tried to pass on his successful experience to Might Guy. Just refer to what Obito said, or follow what teacher Miyu taught. Although they are both breathing techniques, the difference should still be very large. Shisui said, if the two breathing techniques were similar, Miyu would definitely let them learn one directly, and there would be no need to go through so much trouble to practice separately. Well, teacher Miyu said that the current progress is normal, and the breathing of rock is more difficult than the breathing technique you practiced. Might Guy nodded and replied. His mentality was actually very good, and only 10 days had passed. When Might Guy was learning a clone technique, he couldn't create a clone that was exactly the same as the original body and could move until the end of the 2nd year. That was nearly 3 years, and he didn't say he would give up completely, so 10 days was nothing, even if he still hasn't learned it after 1,000 days. As long as Miyu doesn't say anything else, he will keep practicing like this. He believes that persistent efforts will definitely lead to success. Because he is a hard-working genius recognized by Miyu. Then you have to work hard. I won't show mercy to you just because your breathing method is a little difficult. During the practical test 3 days later, Obito laughed. It is approaching the end of the summer special training. The summer special training will be over after training until Friday, and the last practical test will be conducted on Saturday. Even if the breathing method has not been fully learned, it can enhance strength. Leading by one breathing method, Might Guy will definitely not be his opponent. There is no need to use the tactics of the perspective clone technique, just win with hard power. Youth should go all out in battle. Might Guy showed his shining white teeth and praised Obito. If Obito gave in, Might Guy would not be happy. He believed that fighting with all his strength is youth. After the afternoon training, Might Guy returned home. Might Guy saw that he was sweating all over, and laughed. You have worked hard to become stronger today. Wait a minute at home, I'll go buy some meat and cook for you. You can't live without meat when you are growing up. Just buy some cheap vegetables. There shouldn't be much money at home. Might Guy couldn't help but say. Might Guy was just a genin, and no one was willing to form a team. D-level missions were not often available, so he couldn't make much money at all. Although Might Guy didn't know the specific situation of his father's work, he also knew that his family's financial conditions were not good. This is not a problem you should worry about. You just need to practice hard. Might Guy gave Might Guy a thumbs up and smiled. After that, Might Guy went out to buy vegetables. Might Guy thought about it, and finally followed him. If he really had no money, he would come out in time to persuade Might Guy to buy cheaper vegetables. Might Guy followed Might Guy all the way to the vegetable market. At the vegetable market, Might Guy went straight to the meat shop. Boss, how much is meat per pound? Might Guy asked. The butcher stood up and looked at Mighty Guy, then answered, 100 taels per catty. Then the butcher picked up the knife and asked, how many catties do you want? Mighty Guy did not say how much he wanted, but bargained. Boss, it's almost evening, your meat is not fresh, 100 taels is too expensive. Then I'll give you a discount, 97 taels per catty. The butcher thought for a while and said, only 3 taels off is too little. Then I'll go to other stores to have a look. Mighty Guy made a move to leave. Okay, then I'll give you a discount, 93 taels per catty is fine. The butcher quickly stopped him and said, 80 taels per catty. Mighty Guy shook his head and said, 20 taels off all of a sudden, you're cutting too much. The butcher showed a reluctant expression. Mighty Guy immediately turned around and made a move to leave again. Okay, 80 taels per catty is 80 taels per catty, it can't be any cheaper. If it's any cheaper I'll lose money. The butcher stopped him again and said, well, Give me 40 tails of meat, Might Guy said with a triumphant smile. Only 40 tails? The butcher's chopping of meat was paused. I've never seen a ninja as stingy and good at bargaining as you. The butcher couldn't help but complain. Ninjas exercise a lot and generally eat more than ordinary people. They usually buy at least a few kilograms. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus book bar's first release of this novel. Thank you for the compliment. Might Guy gave the butcher a thumbs up and smiled. A 10,000-year genin is a 10,000-year genin. It takes so much time to buy meat and only costs 40 taels. Two ninjas passing by saw this scene and said with disdain, no one should be willing to entrust a ninja like him with the task. One of the tall and thin ninjas laughed. It's okay that he can't do anything with Ninja Tagen, and his behavior is so weird. If I were the client, I wouldn't entrust such a person to do a task. Another fatter ninja nodded and said, faced with the two's contempt, Might Guy just smiled and gave them a thumbs up, then walked towards home. He still had to go home to cook for his son. Might Guy didn't care, but Might Guy, who had been hiding, had already started to get angry. He remembered that 3 years ago, Might Guy took him to the street and was ridiculed in the same way. That time, the angry Might Guy went straight to him to vent his anger for his father, but he was not strong enough and was beaten instead. It was Kakashi who passed by and saved him. Encountering such a situation again, Might Guy didn't know if he could beat the two official ninjas, nor did he know if Kakashi would appear again, but he knew that he must definitely take action. Because of the 40 taels of meat that Might Guy bought, Might Guy himself would definitely not eat a single bite and let Might Guy eat it all. How could Might Guy tolerate others to despise and insult his father who raised him like this? Might Guy followed the two ninjas who mocked Might Guy out of the vegetable market and walked to a street. 3 sentences, Might Guy said to the two ninjas with a cold face. The tall and thin ninja turned around in confusion and saw that it was Might Guy who was wearing the same tights as Might Guy. He said, boy, what are you talking about? You two are really worthy of being father and son. You are both weird. This kid seems to be in a ninja school, and he seems to be the last one, the slightly fat ninja said with a smile. Isn't this a good match? A perennial genin and a last-place son. The two laughed. I set a rule for myself. If someone scolds my father, I must give him 5 punches in return. You just said 2 more sentences, so now it's 5 sentences. Might Guy stretched out 5 fingers and said, kid, get out of here while I'm in a good mood. Do you have the strength to give 5 punches for every sentence? The tall and thin ninja said with disdain. A young boy who hasn't graduated yet dared to speak wildly to them. The official ninjas. Might Guy chose to answer the question with his feet. It's not forcing hatred. Similar things happened in the original work. Chapter 108. Breathing of Rock. Concentrate on breathing. Konoha whirlwind. Might Guy poured his strength into his legs, and his chakra burst out to quickly kick out a whirlwind kick at an extremely fast speed. The thin and tall ninja didn't expect Might Guy to be able to burst out at such a speed. He was caught off guard and kicked in the chest by Might Guy, and retreated several meters backwards. Daman, block the road over there. Today I have to teach him a lesson for his useless father. The thin and tall ninja felt the pain in his chest and said with gritted teeth. The slightly fat ninja nodded, and flashed past Might Guy, blocking Might Guy's way back. Kid, you like to fight, right? I want to see how you, a kid who hasn't graduated yet, can give me a 25 punch to a chunin. The thin and tall ninja rubbed his fists, rushed towards Might Guy, and launched an extremely fierce attack. The fists of the thin high-level ninja rained down on Might Guy. Might Guy wanted to fight with the thin high-level ninja head-on, but he unexpectedly found that he was quickly suppressed, and his face and arms were hit by fists. The advantage of height and the suppression of combat experience made Might Guy quickly fall into a disadvantage. His physique, which usually stood out among his peers, did not play any role now. Fortunately, Might Guy had been training his body for a long time, which saved him from a lot of blows. Bang! The slightly fat ninja behind Might Guy took action, and while Might Guy was dodging the attack, he kicked Might Guy several meters away and hit the wall on the street. Have you been weak from drinking tea recently? How come you are so slow to teach a kid who is still in school a lesson? The slightly fat ninja said with a smile. Go away. This kid is a bit weird, and he feels more flexible than a monkey," the thin tall ninja said unhappily, and then flashed in front of Might Guy. "Kid, remember this, not everyone is as weak as your useless dad." The tall and thin ninja grabbed Might Guy's clothes on his chest and picked him up. "It's 7 sentences now," Might Guy said silently, still saying a few more sentences. "I think you think the punch just now didn't hurt, right?" The tall and thin ninja heard Might Guy's words and felt that he was seriously looked down upon. He raised his fist and hit Might Guy. Might Guy kicked the wall next to him with his foot, and with the help of this force, he got rid of the control of the tall and thin ninja. The tall and thin ninja was about to rush up to continue to teach Might Guy a lesson, but found that Might Guy's figure suddenly disappeared. "Be careful behind you," the slightly fat ninja reminded him. The tall and thin ninja turned around and punched in an instant, just colliding with Might Guy's kick. After failing to hit, Might Guy took a few steps back. He looked around and thought about countermeasures. This was his first time to fight two people, and his opponents were stronger than him. Although Might Guy has already exerted his strength beyond his normal ability, 2 fists cannot beat 4 hands, and soon his clothes were covered with dust because of falling to the ground many times. However, Might Guy, who has mastered the shave, can suddenly burst out with extreme speed, and also left 2 footprints on the thin and tall ninja. Hoo-hoo, Might Guy panted hard, his legs trembling uncontrollably, and he half knelt on the ground. So far, he has used the shave 5 times. In fact, his legs were already very tired when he used it for the 4th time, but Might Guy still gritted his teeth and continued to use the shave to attack. At this moment, his legs were completely in a state of fatigue. "Haha, you can't run anymore, keep going. Why don't you avenge your useless father?" The thin and tall ninja showed a mocking look. Might Guy's continuous actions have completely angered him. Now he doesn't want to care about anything, just want to beat Might Guy up. "It can't be fake news that I heard before. This kid's performance is not like the last one," the slightly fat ninja said. "No matter if he is the last one or not, we must beat him up today and let him know who he can't mess with." The tall and thin ninja clenched his fists and said, "I still failed." Looking at the tall and thin ninja who was getting closer and closer, Might Guy felt a little unwilling. The 2 ninjas were about to be defeated. It was also dusk, and time seemed to have returned to 3 years ago. He did not regret standing up to avenge his father, but he hated that he was not strong enough to defeat the 2. "If I practiced the breath of rock," Might Guy once again remembered the terrifying power of the breath of rock that Muyu demonstrated to him that day. Under the blessing of the full concentration of breathing, Muyu's speed and strength were improved in all aspects, and the power of each physical skill became extremely strong. He kept panting in his mouth, and the enemy was getting closer and closer. The knowledge that Muyu taught in Might Guy's mind became clearer and clearer. The breath of rock is like a breath like a rock, powerful and tough. If you can practice it to a deep level, you can protect everything you want to protect like a rock. Muyu's voice seemed to ring in his ears. Suddenly, Might Guy felt that he had realized something. Might Guy exerted force on his abdomen, inhaled a large amount of oxygen, and then exhaled white air, and his breathing rhythm suddenly changed. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 = 9 plus book _ bar. First published this novel. The tall and thin ninja was still talking, but Might Guy didn't pay attention. He put all his energy into breathing. As he continued to breathe, Might Guy felt a constant flow of power, and even his legs, which had just been extremely tired, seemed to have regained strength. His legs stopped shaking. He stood up and looked at the tall and thin ninja. This time, he would use the power of rock to protect his father. "Huh? You can actually stand up?" The tall and thin ninja was a little surprised. He saw that Might Guy's legs were shaking like that just now, but the tall and thin ninja still didn't take Might Guy seriously. He just thought that Might Guy was just holding on. Rock breathing, full concentration breathing, Konoha grunt cyclone, inhaling a large amount of oxygen into the body to strengthen every cell in the body. Might Guy felt that his strength was stronger than ever before. He used the shave again and appeared next to the thin and tall ninja, and then kicked a roundhouse kick. The thin and tall ninja only felt that Might Guy suddenly disappeared after he stood up, and then a foot kicked towards his chest. Bang! The thin and tall ninja hit the wall hard, making a dull impact. How is it possible that the son of that 10,000-year-old ninja is so powerful? This was the last thought of the thin and tall ninja before he lost consciousness. The slightly fat ninja opened his mouth wide, showing a shocked expression, but Might Guy did not give the slightly fat ninja more time to react. He directly used the Konoha cyclone to send the slightly fat ninja to the wall together. A total of 8 sentences. Might Guy walked in front of the two and said, then punched and counted 1 punch. After punching 5 punches, Might Guy exited the breathing method state, but he still dragged his tired body to complete the 40 punches. Okay, you have become much stronger. Kakashi suddenly appeared and said, in the plot, he was beaten in the flashback plot of Animation 638 3 years ago. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 109 Rapidly Increasing Proficiency. Kakashi happened to see the scene while shopping nearby. However, when he came, Might Guy was half kneeling on the ground. Just when Kakashi was about to attack, Might Guy suddenly burst out and killed both of them instantly. Kakashi couldn't understand the sudden burst of power of Might Guy just now. Now he really believed what his father said before. Might Guy would really become his rival, or even surpass him. Of course, because I am a hard-working genius recognized by Teacher Muyu. Might Guy raised his thumb and showed an extremely bright smile. His 2 rows of shining white teeth were particularly eye-catching. After saying that, Might Guy's body couldn't help but fall backwards. The burst just now made him too tired. Kakashi quickly caught Might Guy. Next time, remember to save enough strength to walk home. Otherwise your father will worry about you. Kakashi carried Might Guy on his back and walked towards Might Guy's house and said, haha, don't you have your best friend? Might Guy laughed. I can't always be there, Kakashi said speechlessly. After sending Might Guy to the door of his house and watching him being taken in by Might Guy, Kakashi turned and left. Might Guy today really surprised him. Until now, Kakashi still didn't understand how Might Guy's last 2 kicks suddenly burst out with such powerful force. He should have been exhausted. Headache. The teacher said that we will do the mission tomorrow. Remember not to be late. On the way home, Kakashi met 2 teammates who came to find him. Yeah, Kakashi nodded coldly, without saying anything, and walked straight towards his home. It's so cold. I don't know how much money I owe him. The teammates couldn't help but complain. He didn't come to the collective training, never practiced cooperation, but was quite active in doing the mission. Who let him be a genius ninja? Say less. Although he was very tired, Might Guy still went to Muyu after dinner. He went there every day, and suddenly he didn't go. Might Guy felt that Muyu might be worried about him, and he also had to report to Muyu about the breathing method. Teacher Muyu, I was fighting with someone just now when I suddenly fell into a state. My strength became stronger and stronger, and even my tired legs were full of strength again. Might Guy told Muyu about what happened in the afternoon. However, he tried to make the battle process easy, and did not say that he was so tired that he could not walk at the end. Muyu directly opened the appraisal to check Might Guy's breathing proficiency. Skill, rock breathing, undergraduate, 17/100ths. Muyu was shocked. Yesterday, Might Guy's proficiency was 0, but today it skyrocketed to 17. What is this concept? Yesterday, Obito had the highest proficiency, but it was only 6 points. Might Guy jumped directly from 0 to 17, which is nearly 3 times that of Obito. Muyu analyzed what Might Guy said and felt that it should be because the situation was more critical at the time, and Might Guy was very suitable for practicing rock breathing. His thoughts at the time also fit rock breathing, so his potential was stimulated, and he understood all the content he taught before, and his proficiency soared directly. Don't practice today. Sit and watch Obito and the others practice for a while, Muyu said. Might Guy didn't try to show off and nodded. When teaching Obito and Shisui, Muyu told them the good news. Now Kai's breathing method training progress is the first. He can now use breathing methods to strengthen himself. Muyu said. Didn't he even have a sense of chi yesterday? How can he become so much stronger in one day? Obito said in surprise. He is practicing breathing methods and knows how difficult it is. According to Muyu, Might Guy's rock breathing is more difficult than the flame breathing they practice. Obito doesn't understand how Might Guy made such rapid progress in one day. He feels that Might Guy is cheating. Practice hard, and you will also make rapid progress, Muyu said with a smile. Obito's talent for practicing flame breathing is still good. If Might Guy hadn't suddenly realized this time, Obito should have been ahead in breathing methods. Muyu even thinks that Obito should be the first to learn breathing methods in the end. The opportunity for enlightenment is not every day. With the difficulty of rock breathing, Might Guy can only hone his proficiency through hard practice day after day, but it is better than the beginning. It is very important to achieve a breakthrough. After learning about Might Guy's rapid progress, Obito was instantly under great pressure. Not counting today, which is almost over, there are only 2 days left before the final test. He originally thought that his top 2 was stable, but now it seems very unstable. Muyu Immortal, please bless me to make rapid progress as well. Obito put his hands together and prayed in his heart. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6=9 plus book bar released this novel for the first time. The posture is wrong. Muyu pulled Obito's hands apart. The prayer was destroyed by Muyu Immortal himself. Obito, who failed to pray, could only return to training, constantly repeating different breathing exercises and feeling the subtle changes in his body. On Thursday, Muyu was still teaching normally. However, because the special training was about to end, Muyu would give students some chicken blood every time he started class. This special training is almost over, and the promotion reward has not been triggered yet. Muyu feels that students can work harder for the last 2 days. At this point in time, most of the training goals set by Muyu have been achieved, except for a few new members. The members of Group A have basically completed the training of the instant body technique. Whether they can use it well or not is another matter. It depends on the individual, but they have indeed learned it. The members of Group B have basically completed the practice of climbing trees and treading water. The average chakra control ability of each person has greatly improved, and the level of the 3-body technique has also made great progress. If only the initial members of Group B are counted, the average score of ninjutsu has increased from more than 7 points to more than 9 points. Those outstanding students from lower grades have also improved rapidly in these 5 weeks of special training. If they start school, they will definitely give their classmates a surprise. It's the last 2 days. Everyone, hurry up and practice. The actual combat test in 2 days will be watched by the 3rd generation. Let the 3rd generation see the results of your hard work. Muyu continued to encourage him. It's finally here, the time to really become famous. Gangziti and Shinnu Izuma looked at each other and began to continue to think about ninjutsu and perform better. Do you have a dumpling if you do well in the exam? Hongdu just wanted to be rewarded with a dumpling by Muyu. I really don't know what's so happy about an old man coming. Asuma looked unhappy. There may be some students who are not interested in the 3rd Hokage among the more than 300 students, but Asuma is probably the only student who is unhappy with the 3rd Hokage. The 3rd Hokage. Shisui's mind flashed back to the history of the Muayu cult. I'm a little stuck, so I'm a little late. Chapter 110, Binding Training. Teacher Muyu, I seem to feel a slight bulge in my abdomen. Is it possible that my posture is already very standard, and the air is circling in the meridians? Obito asked excitedly. I think you ate too much for dinner. Muyu took a look and found that Obito's posture was wrong again in the process of breathing gradually, so she answered, well, it seems that I ate a little too much. Obito's face was a little ruddy, and he touched his slightly bulging abdomen and smiled awkwardly. Hearing this somewhat outrageous conversation, Shisui next to him couldn't hold it anymore and laughed out loud, and his breathing rhythm was messed up. You have to lead the air inhaled into your body, instead of letting the inhaled air affect your body posture. Muyu corrected Obito's posture hand in hand and said, Shisui did a good job on this point. Muyu pointed to Shisui who had recovered and reposed. Overall, Shisui's progress was not as good as Obito, But Shisui was faster than Obito in this part of the training. "Why don't you tie me up, Teacher Muyu, so that I can guide the inhaled air well?" Obito had a flash of inspiration and came up with a good idea. The strengthening movements of the breathing method are more difficult than the other. Not only are there airflow effects, but the body will also be very tired if the difficult postures are held for a long time. Muyu didn't know for a moment whether Obito was eager to practice or had awakened some strange habit, and actually wanted to fix it physically. Muyu had thought of this method, but it was not certain whether the physical fixation would be effective. But the body would definitely be very uncomfortable and not very humane. Those who knew that he was practicing the breathing method thought that he was interrogating a spy from another country. This method may be feasible, but the practice process will be very uncomfortable. "Are you sure you want to do this?" Muyu asked. Since Obito took the initiative to try it, Muyu would not object. There is no easy word in the practice of ninjas. Every day, you sweat a lot when you exercise your body and your whole body is wet with sweat. It will be painful to fall to the ground when climbing a tree. If you make a mistake in stepping on water, you will fall into the water. If you practice the nature change of fire attribute chakra without paying attention, you will burn yourself. Try it first. "I feel uncomfortable posing here," Obito nodded and said. He still wanted to try whether he could make progress faster by taking a trick. Since the special training time is only 5 weeks, although it was said that there would be a strength test every 2 weeks, the last practical test was actually 3 weeks apart. Obito had finally defeated Might Guy once before, and he saw the dawn of a winning streak in practicing breathing techniques. He didn't want to be defeated by Might Guy so soon. In the 2 practical exams of the ninja school, class practical exams and grade practical exams, Might Guy had defeated him 4 times in total, while he had only won once now. Muyu satisfied Obito's wish. He found a few wooden boards and some ropes, and tied Obito to the wooden boards to fix a posture. However, Muyu did not tie it tightly. If it was too tight, it would affect the blood circulation of the body. So Muyu reminded him, "The rope is not very tight, it can only serve as an auxiliary tool. You still have to guide it yourself. Don't think that you only need to breathe when you are fixed." Obito nodded, and then began to practice breathing techniques seriously. After practicing for a while, Obito found that it seemed to be somewhat useful, but he was a little uncomfortable being tied up. After practicing a move and letting Muyu's shadow clone help him change his position, after practicing for an hour, Obito even felt pretty good. Whenever he got out of shape and touched the loose rope, he would immediately know that his move was not correct, and then adjust it immediately. When the practice time was almost over, Muyu brought Might Guy to Shisui and Obito. "Okay, use the breathing method and then use physical skills," Muyu said to Might Guy. Might Guy nodded and began to adjust his breathing rhythm to absorb a lot of oxygen into his body to enhance his own strength. Konoha big tornado. Might Guy picked the thickest tree nearby, a tree that 3 people might not be able to hug, and directly kicked it with a burst of chakra. Pa! With a bang, the tree fell to the ground, and the place where Might Guy kicked was already broken. The speed and strength have become much stronger. Obito, who often fights with Might Guy, said in surprise. Just now, Might Guy's tornado kick seemed to have really brought a gust of wind, and the surrounding grass was overwhelmed. As long as you make further progress, you can almost use the breathing method in battle, Muyu said to Shisui and Obito with a smile. The breathing method is so difficult to practice, so you have to give some hope. Now Might Guy is leading, so let's use Might Guy as a benchmark. One more thing, don't use the breathing method in the actual combat test the day after tomorrow, Muyu said. Why? Obito asked with some doubts. Currently, only Might Guy can use it in battle, so isn't this forcibly abolishing part of Might Guy's strength? Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 = 9 plus book _ bar released this novel for the first time. Although it is good news for him, Obito is very confused. This is not a training match, and it is forcibly equalizing the strength. If you really want to forcibly equalize the strength, you have to ban most of Shisui's ninjutsu and illusion. You have just started practicing, and you can't grasp the degree. Using the breathing method is easy to overload the battle and leave hidden injuries on the body. Muyu explained, this is just one of the reasons. In fact, The real reason is that the third generation will come to see. The third generation is different from other ninjas. He has mastered too many ninjutsu, taijutsu and secret techniques. Might Guy and the others are young and unskilled at this time. If they suddenly explode, it will be easy for the third generation to find out the problem. If it's just one person, it's fine. What if Obito also explodes in battle and uses the breathing method? It will be intriguing. So Muyu simply told the disciples not to use the breathing method. It's okay to shave, except for the faster speed. It actually looks no different from the ordinary taijutsu, the body flicking technique. Because Obito and the others are stronger, the body flicking technique is faster, which is reasonable. That day, I thought my legs recovered after using the breathing method, but I didn't maintain the breathing method and my fatigue exploded instantly. Might Guy nodded. Muyu was right. Obito showed an expression of sudden enlightenment. On Saturday, all students gathered at the training ground on time to prepare for the final practical test. Sarutobi Hiruzen came as he said, and he came not only alone, but also brought many teachers with him. This was something Sarutobi Hiruzen and Muyu had communicated in advance. On the day of the exam, he brought other teachers to see this special training model. The students are full of energy and look very confident. Sarutobi Hiruzen, wearing a white robe and a Hokage hat, said with a smile, "Let's take a look at the results of their hard work in the past 5 weeks. It's a little late, but I still want to try to write 5 chapters." Chapter 111, Becoming Famous. Sandaime-sama, Hokage-sama. When Sarutobi Hiruzen came over, Group C had just finished drawing lots, and the students greeted Sarutobi Hiruzen one after another. "Everyone, just treat it as usual. I'm just here to take a look," Sarutobi Hiruzen said with a kind smile. Number 1 Mitarashi Anko and Number 2 Asakawa Senkin, prepare to start fighting. Shadow Clone Muyu began to preside over the test. The students called by Muyu quickly went to the battlefield and got ready for the battle. Sarutobi Hiruzen glanced around. In order not to affect each other, the distance between the 3 groups' test sites was not short. "Muyu, you've worked hard for the past 5 weeks, leading more than 300 students by yourself," Sarutobi Hiruzen sighed. "In this situation, one person is really not enough, and you have to use shadow clones." Look, Muyu's real body is still next to him, and the shadow clone is still presiding over the exam. "My duty," Muyu replied with a smile. Without saying too much, the Sandaime smiled and nodded, turning his attention to the battle that had already begun. Although the opponent Asakawa Senkin is a 4th grade student, Hongdu is at a disadvantage in height, but Hongdu is not at all weak, and directly rushed up to fight with Asakawa Senkin in close combat. Hongdu's physical skills are very radical, and they belong to the kind of "I can be injured, but you must be more seriously injured than me." Feeling the gazes of many onlookers, Asakawa Senkin secretly groaned, and he couldn't stand Hongdu's crazy attack. Asakawa Senkin used Hongdu's fist force to retreat to the tree, and then ran directly up the tree, and then threw a large number of shurikens at Hongdu, trying to kite Hongdu. But Hongdu was not thrown away by him. She had already completed the tree climbing training and had practiced using the woods to fight. She soon caught up with Asakawa Senkin and fought with him on the tree. The 3 basic ninjutsu of clone technique, transformation technique, and substitute technique were all used by the 2. "Muyu, this Mitarashi Anko is a student in your class," Sarutobi Hiruzen suddenly said. Because Muyu's class performance was too outstanding before, he had a little impression of the top students in Muyu's class. "Yes, she is a student in the 1st grade class." Muyu nodded. "She is a very good student who can have such chakra control ability and ninjutsu level in the 1st grade. Sarutobi Hiruzen stroked his mustache and nodded. He was very satisfied with Muyu's teaching results. The strength shown by the 2 students was very good, and this was the C group with the worst progress. Yes, with such strength, the 3rd year and 4th year students with average strength may not be able to achieve it. The Chunin teacher who came with Sarutobi Hiruzen sighed. Her opponent is not bad either. If she practices more, she should be able to reach the level of graduation. Sarutobi Hiruzen continued. The other Chunin teachers also nodded in approval. One of the Chunin teachers was even more surprised, because Asakawa Sankan was a student in his class. He remembered that this student was usually quite ordinary, but he didn't expect that he would have made such great progress in just 5 weeks of special training. Was it because he didn't study seriously before, or was he too hard in these 5 weeks, or was Miyu really good at teaching? He didn't know which reason it was for the time being. Mitarashi Anko wins. In the end, Asakawa Sankan was slightly inferior, and Anko won. Number 3 Gang Zaitetsu and number 4 Nakamori Goichi are ready to start fighting. Miyu quickly announced the names of the next players. Nakamori Goichi, this is my student. Ikutani Young said. Oh, how is his actual combat performance? Saratobi Hiruzen asked curiously. It's quite ordinary. The actual combat score is usually around 15 points. Ikutani Young said honestly. But his opponent looks like a first or second grade student, so it should be okay, right? Saratobi Hiruzen understood Nakamori Goichi's level when he heard 15 points. According to the grading standards of the ninja school, it is a very ordinary score. Not necessarily, that Gang Zaitetsu is also a student in Miyu's class, and his actual combat performance is quite excellent. Weta Ai said it before Miyu came out to recognize the student. While the onlookers below were discussing, the battle began. Nakamori Goichi took advantage of his physical advantage and rushed forward quickly, launching a swift attack. Although Gang Ziti was at a disadvantage in terms of strength, his short stature also meant that he was flexible. Gang Ziti evaded Nakamori Goichi's attacks flexibly. For a time, the situation was very stalemate. If nothing unexpected happens, Nakamori Goichi should win, a Chunin teacher speculated. Although it seemed that Gang Ziti was not suppressed too much at the moment, he was actually at a great disadvantage. Gang Ziti was young and did not have an advantage in physical strength. If he continued to consume like this, he would be caught sooner or later. This student is not bad. Although he is not as good as his classmates, he is also very good, the third generation said while puffing out smoke from a small pipe. After all, the battle spanned several grades, and the third generation felt that it was already very good to be able to fight like this. Confusing the enemy. Read the correct version as 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus book bar published this novel for the first time. Seizing a breath of air, Gang Ziti directly used his strongest ninjutsu. In order to enhance his ninjutsu, Gang Ziti went to a women's clothing store. 6 older sisters wearing different styles of cool clothes suddenly appeared on the field and surrounded Nakamori Goichi. Nakamori Goichi's sight was attracted by the mysterious power. Gang Zaitetsu seized this opportunity to kick Nakamori Goichi down, and then held the kunai in his right hand against Nakamori Goichi. Gang Zaitetsu wins. Nakamori Goichi, who reacted, was both confused and shocked. He knew Gang Zaitetsu's ninjutsu, but he didn't expect Gang Zaitetsu to dare to use this ninjutsu in such a scene, with the third Hokage watching. Silence. At this moment, the field was silent, and no one made a sound. Both students and teachers looked at this scene in shock. Ahem. Finally, it was the cough of the third Hokage that broke the silence. The third Hokage, who was watching intently, was choked by the smoke. He quickly wiped off the red under his nose and then commented seriously, "Teacher Miyu did a good job in this special training." Gang Zaitetsu used his own advantages flexibly, and Nakamori Goichi's performance was also remarkable. How many points do you think he can get in this actual combat? 24. A Chunin teacher spoke first. Other teachers also gave scores accordingly, and the scores were similar. No teacher mentioned Gang Ziti. Everyone tacitly ignored what had just happened, and praised Miyu for teaching well in the summer special training, and the students made great progress. Only occasionally would they secretly glance in the direction of Gang Ziti, thinking that he was really a talent. "Ziti, you are really going to be famous now." Shinnu Izuma looked at the victorious Gang Ziti with envy. Under the watchful eyes of the third Hokage, he flexibly used ninjutsu to defeat the strong with the weak. He wished that he was the one standing there. Number 5 Yoshikazu, number 6 Shinnu Izumo. Get ready. Hearing his own name, Shinnu Izumo quickly stepped onto the stage. He also wanted to be famous. I am not in a good state today. I feel that this chapter did not write out the feeling it should have. If you see any problems, Just leave a message in the chapter. I will change it. The next few chapters may be a little later. Chapter 112 Shocking Teaching Results. Konosuke Izumo walked forward quickly and met Gang Ziti, who was walking back. The two smiled at each other and gently bumped their fists. Izumo, I have succeeded. Now it's up to you. Gang Ziti couldn't control his joy. Now thinking back to the battle just now, he couldn't help but cheer for himself. As a first-year student, he fought against the fourth-year students. He was at a disadvantage and calmly looked for opportunities to defeat the enemy with one blow. He was so ninja. Gang Ziti believed that the third Hokage would definitely remember his name, Gang Ziti. It's a pity that I couldn't spread the reputation of Brother Ebisu. Gang Ziti felt sorry, because Ebisu emphasized it many times. Gang Ziti didn't do it like last time. Gang Ziti felt that Ebisu was good in everything, but he was too low-key and didn't want others to know how powerful he was. After watching Konosuke Izumo's battle for a while, Sarutobi Hiruzen had almost made a rough judgment on the result of this special training. The special training did bring a lot of improvement to the students. After the special training, the students who scored 15 points could reach a good score of 24 points. After the special training, the first-year students like Gang Ziti had the strength to fight against the senior students. Putting aside the ninjutsu that made him a little curious, Gang Ziti's performance in all aspects far exceeded the level that a first-year student should have, and Shinryu Izumo in this match also had similar strength. The student's strength has improved a lot in this special training, Sarutobi Hiruzen thought to himself. In fact, the score comparison has already shown the student's progress very intuitively, but there are certain subjective factors in the actual scoring, and the third generation prefers to see it with his own eyes. Confusing the enemy, several older sisters in cool clothes suddenly appeared on the battlefield again, performing various suggestive movements. Shinryu Izumo seized the opponent's distraction and defeated the opponent. Sarutobi Hiruzen only felt his nose a little wet, and felt that there were surprises in various senses in this strength test. Teacher Muyu, your students are all very creative. Iketani racked his brains and blushed, but he could only come up with such a more appropriate compliment. Others cannot support him, but Iketani cannot. After all, he has been a substitute teacher for so many times. Ziti and Izumo are like this, Muyu said with a smile. In fact, it's not just me and Izumo. Gang Ziti sneaked over to Muyu. Teacher Muyu, this technique was developed by Izumo, Ebisu and me, to be precise. It was Ebisu who led us to develop it. Gang Ziti deliberately raised his voice. He couldn't stand that Ebisu, who played the biggest role, was unknown to others. Teacher Tanaka, isn't Ebisu a student in your class? I remember that his grades were quite good. Yes, he is a student in my 4th grade. 6th class. Tanaka just smiled awkwardly. He didn't expect that this strange ninjutsu was actually related to the good students in his class. He remembered that Ebisu was a very serious person. Ebisu. Sarutobi Hiruzen also heard what Gang Ziti said and remembered the name. After completing his mission, Gang Ziti quietly went back, brushing off his clothes and hiding himself and his name. Zitai. How was my performance just now? Shinryu Izumo asked excitedly. Very strong. I saw that the Sandaime-sama was watching very seriously. Gang Zitai put his arm around Shinryu Izumo's neck and said, that's great. Now our brothers are really on the road to fame. Shinryu Izumo waved his fist to celebrate. Not only the two of us, but also Brother Ebisu. Gang Zitai told Shinryu Izumo about his performance just now with a proud look on his face. No doubt. If Brother Ebisu knew about it, he would definitely treat you to a meal. Shinryu Izumo gave Gang Zitai a thumbs up. It takes courage to sneak into the group of teachers. We will tell Brother Ebisu this good news after the test is over. Gang Zitai said excitedly. Ebisu, who was waiting for his battle in Group A, felt his nose itchy and sneezed. For some reason, he suddenly felt a little uneasy. Seized this opportunity to perform well in front of Lord Hokage. Ebisu shook off these distracting thoughts and tried his best to maintain his good condition. After watching 2 more battles, other Chunin teachers also found that the improvement of those students was not accidental, but all of them had a significant improvement. How is this taught? It's only been 5 weeks, and there is such an improvement. Are all the students practicing every day without distractions? Some teachers felt puzzled. Many Chunin teachers have heard of Muyu's teaching ability, but most people think that even if you can teach better, it will not be of much use. In addition to the theoretical results, the actual combat is still determined by the student's talents. No matter how good you are at teaching, can you change the difficulty of ninjutsu? Read the error-free version at 69 book bar 6 = 9 plus book _ bar released this novel for the first time, but the progress in front of them cannot be faked. Before, they thought that the students who were average or even bad had reached a good level in the special training of more than 1 month. Let's go and see the students in other groups. After the 5th battle, Sarutobi Hiruzen said, after watching the battles of 10 students, he knew the level of the entire group. This is Group B. Muyu led Sarutobi Hiruzen and others to the direction of Group B. Group B was testing near the river. As soon as Muyu and the others went over, they saw 2 students standing on the river and fighting fiercely. The students in Group B have basically completed the chakra control training, and they have no problem climbing trees and treading water. In addition, they are also progressing faster in physical skills and ninjutsu than Group C. Muyu introduced, "Can all of them walk on the water?" A Chunin teacher showed a skeptical expression. If climbing trees is something that excellent 4th grade students generally master, then treading water is a skill that even genin may not be able to master, and it especially tests the level of chakra control. He took a rough look and found that the number of students in Group B seemed to be no less than that in Group C. He thought it was impossible for there to be so many excellent students, but he soon had to believe that this was the fact, because all the students in Group B went to the river to fight. While fighting, not only could they tread water, but they also looked very skilled. These students are definitely qualified to become genin directly after graduation. A teacher commented, if Group C is an excellent group of students, then Group B gives them the feeling that there is no problem graduating directly. Yes, with such a level of clone skills, even if the graduation exam standard is used, it will get full marks. A teacher agreed. Some teachers saw their own students among them and doubted their lives. This kid wasn't that good before, how come he got so much stronger all of a sudden? They didn't know for a moment whether they had buried their students or the students were playing them. Seeing the excellent performance of the students in Group B, the 3rd generation had some expectations for the level of the students in Group A. This is Group A. After watching a few games, Muyu took Sarutobi Hiruzen and others to Group A. Chapter 113 Shisui's Amazing Strength. Muyu introduced the level of students in Group A as she walked. Students in Group A have basically completed chakra control training 2 weeks after the special training began. During the special training, they mainly strengthened their chakra control ability, learned the instant body technique, and strengthened their physical skills and ninjutsu level. Group A is the fastest progressing group, and the strength of its students is also the strongest among all groups. The personnel composition is mainly 4th-year students and graduated genin, followed by 3rd-year students and 1st-year students. There are 1st-year students. How can 1st-year students reach this level? A teacher couldn't help asking. With the chakra control ability of climbing trees and treading water, and mastering the instant body technique, it is considered strong among genin. How can it be that the level can be achieved by 1st-year students? That 1st-year student should be Uchiha Shisui in your class, Teacher Muyu. If it is him, maybe it is really possible. Weda AI asked. Apart from Shisui, Weda AI couldn't think of anyone in the 1st grade who could have this ability. Muyu nodded. Although Shisui's reputation as a genius is not small in the ninja school, there are still Chunin teachers who think that 1st-year students cannot reach this level. Not to mention the top student in the 1st grade. They thought that the top student in the 2nd grade could not have such a level. Only Muyu had a good reputation. Otherwise some teachers might have maliciously speculated whether Muyu liked Shisui more and used her privilege to transfer him to Group A directly. Sarutobi Hiruzen just smiled and said nothing. He didn't know how strong Shisui was now, but based on the previous battle where Shisui defeated Asuma, he was enough to enter Group A. Number 17 Uchiha Shisui and number 18 Bingzu Litong are ready to fight. Muyu and the others came just in time to catch up with Shisui's battle. It's Litong. I taught him before he graduated. He is a very good student." The teacher, who thought that first-year students could not reach the level of Group A, said with a smile. He was happy for his former student. There were not many opportunities to show their strength in front of the Hokage. He knew Bingzu Litong's strength. He was not weak when he was studying in school. Now he has graduated and practiced for a long time. It's not easy for him to fight a first-year student. Bingzu Litong didn't know that his former teacher had already opened the champagne before the battle started. He felt a headache after hearing the name of his opponent. It's no wonder that he will definitely be eliminated in the first round this time. Bingzu Litong has no confidence in defeating Shisui. Of course, Bingzu Litong didn't give up directly. He was going to lose anyway, so he had to lose decently. Taking a deep breath, Bingzu Litong walked to the battlefield with a carefree look and made a seal of opposition with Shisui. He already knew the result in advance, so he just had to work hard to show his strength. Look at Litong's calm expression. It seems that he is very confident in this battle. The more the Chunin teacher looked at Bingzu Litong, the more he felt that he was worthy of being his student. The teachers nearby nodded in approval. In fact, most of the teachers believed in Muyu's words and Muyu's character, and believed that Shisui could reach the level of Group A, but they didn't think Shisui could defeat Bingzu Litong. One side is a first-year student who just finished one semester, and the other side is a genin who graduated for a long time and received the same special training. No matter how you look at it, Bingzu Litong will win. Let alone Shisui. Even if Kakashi, who had just finished a semester, came, they thought that Raito Hayate would win in the end. Muyu smiled gently and said nothing. He didn't need to say too much. Shisui could slap him in the face by showing his strength. Sarutobi Hiruzen stroked his mustache and looked at the battlefield with a smile. He was looking forward to the expressions of those teachers when they saw Raito Hayate lose. The battle begins, Muyu shouted. Whoosh! As soon as Muyu finished speaking, Raito Hayate used the instant body technique to rush forward and stabbed Shisui with a kunai in his hand. He knew what kind of strength Shisui had, so he didn't need to test it at all. So he went all out. Raito has a shortcoming. He doesn't know how to control his strength when he attacks. He hasn't changed it yet. The Chunin teacher saw Raito Hayate coming up with the instant body technique and sprinting with a kunai without giving Shisui a chance to perform, and shook his head and said. But the next moment, something surprising happened. Uchiha Shisui's body disappeared at the last moment, and Raito Hayate stabbed nothing. Bingzu Litong was not disappointed. It would be a problem if Shisui could not dodge. He threw a kunai behind him without hesitation. Shisui paused his attack and slightly sidestepped to avoid the flying kunai. His speed is even faster than Litong. Teacher Bingzu Litong was a little dumbfounded. Then Bingzu Litong grabbed a large shuriken and threw it at Shisui, then quickly formed a seal and cast a clone technique to create 4 clones. The clones and the main body went up the tree together and kept changing their figures on the tree. Fire style, Phoenix Chlorette. Shisui dodged the shuriken and started to perform ninjutsu directly. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 = 9 plus book bar released this novel for the first time. First, a large mouthful of flames was sprayed, and then the shuriken was thrown at the flames at a high speed. Then the shuriken with flames rushed towards the trees where Bingzu Litong was like small fireballs. Boom, boom. The shuriken with high temperature flames hit the tree and made a big hole. All the big trees attacked by Shisui collapsed at once. All the clones of Bingzu Litong disappeared. The real body was fine, but fell down. Is this a first-year student? Many Chunin teachers were dumbfounded when they saw the destructive power caused by Shisui's fire escape. Not to mention a first-year student. Even a graduated genin would not be able to perform this kind of fire escape. Litong should still have a chance. The strength of a ninja is not only based on ninjutsu, but also physical skills are equally important. Teacher Bingzu Litong thought about it and felt that Bingzu Litong still had a chance to win. This Uchiha Shisui's ninjutsu is so strong, so physical skills must not be particularly good. After all, he is so young and can't be proficient in everything, and Bingzu Litong happens to be good at physical skills. Shisui did not release any more ninjutsu, but ran towards the fallen Bingzu Litong. Bingzu Litong had no time to retreat. so he had to quickly get up and fight Shisui in close combat. Although Bingzu Litong looked much taller and stronger than Shisui, he was beaten back quickly by Shisui in the physical battle, looking suppressed in front of the surprised eyes of many Chunin teachers. Bingzu Litong's teacher rubbed his eyes, stared at the battlefield again with wide eyes, and repeated it twice before he was sure that he was not seeing things. Uchiha Shisui wins. Bingzu Litong failed to withstand Shisui's high-intensity offensive and was quickly defeated. Muyu announced the victory. The teachers fell into an extremely quiet state again, with expressions of disbelief on their faces. They once doubted whether this Uchiha Shisui had been practicing since his mother's womb. The strength of a first-year student was too extraordinary. Shisui is the most diligent in the class, Muyu said leisurely. Other students only started practicing all day during special training, but Shisui started practicing all day in the South Forest very early. During special training, he would go to Muyu to practice at night after practicing during the day. You should all learn more from Muyu and create more teaching miracles. The third generation looked at the shocked expressions of many teachers and said with a smile, Number 19 Sarutobi Asuma and Number 20 Uchiha Obito prepare to fight. Chapter 114 The slap in the face comes too fast. Ikigandiyong finally saw the outstanding students in his class, smiled and said, Obito is a student in my class. He is very strong. He was the second in the 4th grade before the special training. I don't know how much he can improve after the special training of Muyu teacher. I have seen Uchiha Obito fight. He is indeed very strong. A teacher next to him said with approval. Uchiha Obito is indeed very strong, but his opponent is even stronger. Although Asuma is a genin who graduated this year, he basically maintained the first place in the grade before graduation. Kimura Shanran said. He witnessed Obito's rise step by step to get rid of the last place, but he still didn't think highly of Obito, because Obito's opponent was the son of the 3rd generation Hokage. Obito was the second in the grade, and Asuma was the first in the grade for many years. Ikigandiyong had to nod his head. Normally speaking, Asuma was indeed more likely to win. The teachers who taught Asuma began to brag about Asuma's performance in school, almost praising Asuma to be almost the same as Shisui and Kakashi. The 3rd generation still had a smile on his face, but he didn't take the teacher's flattery seriously. How could he not know what level his son was at? Asuma's performance was not bad, but it would be uncomfortable to compare him with Shisui and Kakashi. The 3rd generation no longer paid attention to the discussion of the teachers, and focused on the battle that was about to begin. He still had to care about his son's battle. Obito, how are you today? Asuma asked with the seal of opposition. Very good. I slept well last night. What's wrong? Even if your father was there, I wouldn't let you go. Obito also asked with a seal. Who asked you to let me go? You must use all your strength later. Asuma replied. Although it is difficult to win a battle with Obito, it can show his strength to the fullest, because now he and Obito are similar types of ninjas. Both have decent fire escape, physical skills and other aspects. The reason why he lost to Obito, who was not at his peak last time, was completely careless. He didn't expect Obito's physical skills to improve and was caught off guard. The battle begins, Muyu shouted when he saw the two of them set up their positions. Whoosh! The two men used the instant body technique at the same time and disappeared from the spot. Shurikens fell on the ground where they were standing. The shurikens didn't hit, and the two men rushed towards each other and started close combat. It was difficult to tell who was better. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Asuma's performance and nodded secretly. Asuma's physical skills had improved a lot compared to before, and now he looked more like a qualified ninja. Seeing that Obito was not inferior to them in the physical skills battle, Kimura Shanran showed a surprised expression and said, Uchiha Obito has improved again. In the last grade exam, Obito was only good at physical skills, but now Obito's close combat ability has improved. Soon, something even more surprising to Kimura Shanran happened. Asuma gradually fell behind. The shaving speed mastered by Obito was faster than the ordinary instant body technique. As long as Asuma showed a flaw, Obito would seize the opportunity. Muyu had to say that the localized shave of Naruto was indeed an excellent instant body technique. Although it had the disadvantages of high consumption and easy fatigue, this was not the disadvantage of shave. but the disadvantage of the user. If the body was strong enough, it would be fine. Fortunately, Asuma had more combat experience than Obito, so he did not let Obito continue to expand the victory. In terms of physical skills, it was temporarily impossible to determine the winner. After a fight, the two of them pulled away and quickly formed seals. Fire style, great fireball technique. Obito condensed a large amount of chakra and transformed it into flames and then sprayed a large fireball in the direction of Asuma. Fire style, great flame technique. Asuma also condensed chakra and sprayed fierce flames in the direction of Obito. The two flames wrestled with each other, both wanting to engulf the other, but in the end, Obito's huge fireball was better and gradually pressed towards Asuma. Asuma tried hard to condense chakra, but still could not offset Obito's great fireball, so he had to dodge. Whoosh! Obito seized this opportunity and used the faster shave again to attack Asuma, who was dodging the great fireball. Lost. Sarutobi Hiruzen shook his head, already knowing the outcome of this battle. In his eyes, Asuma made too many mistakes in this battle. He should not have continued to fight hard due to his speed disadvantage, but should have calmly thought about countermeasures. As for the use of fire escape and fireball, it was a decisive mistake. If Sarutobi Hiruzen was now Asuma's strength, he would have more than 100 ways to defeat Obito. However, Sarutobi Hiruzen did not only see the shortcomings. Asuma has indeed made great progress. If the previous Asuma had come, he would have lost in the physical training stage. As Sarutobi Hiruzen expected, although Asuma was still trying to hold on after losing one after another, he still couldn't stop Obito's swift offensive. Uchiha Obito wins. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6=9 book bar released this novel for the first time. How is it possible? Asuma actually lost. The teachers were dumbfounded and felt very embarrassed. They just boasted fiercely, but lost to a student in school. Isn't this a pure slap in the face? Uchiha Obito is very good. If he can keep it up, he will become an excellent ninja in the future. The third generation smiled and said. What the third generation said makes sense. I am also optimistic about Obito. Ikutani Young instantly became tough. Number 21 Ebisu and number 22 Shire Anui Genma prepare for battle. Hearing the name Ebisu, the teachers present remembered the unforgettable scenery they saw in Group C not long ago. Isn't this the most creative student? A Chunin teacher teased the head teacher of class 6 of the 4th grade. The third generation also became interested and looked at the battle space, wanting to see what was special about Ebisu, the leader of the development. Ebisu noticed a lot of onlookers and felt a little excited. If he performed well this time, his road to becoming a ninja would be smooth. Although his strength was not as good as Shire Anui Genma, Ebisu had tried his best to show everything he had mastered, and finally lost. Ebisu's battle disappointed many teachers. It was not that the battle was not exciting, but that it was not quite what they imagined. The head teacher of class 6, grade 4 quietly left the team of teachers, and with a dark face, he found Ebisu and criticized him. Ebisu felt a little puzzled. Although he lost, he felt that his performance should not be bad. Moreover, he and Genma Shire Anui were classmates. He often lost to Genma Shire Anui in the past, so it was normal for him to lose now. The third generation and many teachers have been at the training ground to see all the battles. They will stay in Group A for a little longer, but will also go to see other groups. Many teachers are more and more surprised, because there are many special training students they have taught, and it feels like they don't recognize them after more than a month. The Extreme Daily 10,000 is successful. Please vote for the monthly ticket and subscribe. Chapter 115, Promotion to Jonin. What do you think of Muyu's summer training? After watching the test, Sarutobi Hiruzen stroked his goatee and asked the visiting Chunin teacher with a smile. It's so strong. It feels like the students have improved much more in this month of training than in a normal semester. Ikutani Young sighed. He praised it not entirely because he had a good relationship with Muyu, but because he really felt that Muyu's special training was particularly strong. He is the head teacher of class 2, grade 4. He has students in groups A, B, C. Recalling the strength of these students before the special training, he really felt a little incredible. For example, ordinary students like Nakamori Goichi have been promoted to good, and those who were already good have become excellent. It's true that every student has improved. It feels very suitable for students like the 4th grade who are about to graduate. If more similar special training is carried out, then our Konoha's Genin will be even better in the future. Kimura Shanron thought for a while and said, in fact, improving the strength of Genin has a very important meaning, that is, to enable Genin to be able to do tasks with higher commissions and rewards more quickly. Considering the strength of Genin, in order to train ninjas more safely, there is a limit for newly graduated Genin under normal circumstances. At the beginning, they can only do some miscellaneous tasks such as picking up garbage, catching cats and reading. If the quality of Genin is improved in the future, then this limit may be relaxed. The higher the reward, the harder the task, the more difficult the task, the more training you can get. This will form a virtuous circle and accelerate the overall training speed. Even the teacher who is similar to Muyu has changed his view of Muyu and constantly praised Muyu for his excellent teaching level. The facts are here. There is no need to make any unwarranted speculation. You can see the teaching results of Muyu in more than a month. I am just teaching to the best of my ability. The students can make such progress without their own efforts. Muyu smiled gently. Special training is much more tiring than normal school. There are 8 hours of training a day. It is not easy for students to stick to it. Muyu sighed. Muyu did not attribute all the progress of the students to himself, but began to praise the students' efforts. On the one hand, Sarutobi Hiruzen and the teachers have seen his results and praised him a lot, so he doesn't need to brag about himself. On the other hand, students are not having an easy time either. Classes here are not like physical education classes in the past life, where students can do some exercise and then go anywhere freely. Teaching skills can only make it easier for students to absorb what Muyu teaches, but it is not a strength enhancer. If students do not study and work hard, teaching skills are useless. No matter what, Muyu, you have given me a big surprise this time. The students' progress is real, and I have seen it all, Sarutobi Hiruzen said with a smile. Your summer special training has set an excellent example for everyone, and it is also a new direction to improve the strength of the graduating Genin. Jin Yuzuru Muyu has strong teaching ability, outstanding work performance, and is extremely hard-working. I hereby promote her to a special Jonin, Sarutobi Hiruzen said to Muyu with a smile. Sarutobi Hiruzen handed a scroll to Muyu, smiled kindly, patted Muyu on the shoulder and said, Muyu Jonin, I hope you can continue to work hard in the future and cultivate the next generation for Konoha. The future of Konoha depends on you young people. The promotion to special Jonin was what Sarutobi Hiruzen agreed with Muyu at the beginning. As long as Muyu can make good results in this summer special training, she can be promoted to special Jonin. In fact, when Muyu handed the results information to Sarutobi Hiruzen, Sarutobi Hiruzen had already decided to promote Muyu, so everything for his promotion was prepared in advance. As long as there were no problems at that time, he would promote Muyu on the spot. It is very difficult to be promoted to Jonin and special Jonin. You have to complete many tasks to accumulate merits, have specialties far beyond ordinary people, and have superhuman strength. But it is also simple to say that it is simple. In fact, as long as Sarutobi Hiruzen is willing, he can directly promote a Genin to Jonin. He has been the position of Hokage for decades and has the right to say what he wants. No one will question his decision. However, for the sake of Konoha's credibility and the value of Jonin, Sarutobi Hiruzen would definitely not promote a ninja to become a Jonin casually. Thank you for your appreciation, Sandame-sama. I will definitely devote all my energy to teaching students and cultivating stronger ninjas for Konoha. Muyu took the scroll with both hands and said with a touched face, although he didn't have any special feelings in his heart. After all, there were so many people present, he had to be grateful. Jounin, Ikigami Yong's eyes widened, looking at Muyu with envy. Even if it is a special Jonin, it is still a Jonin, a high level among ninjas, and can attend the Jonin meeting to discuss various important matters. There are only 2 Jonin in the ninja school teachers. The monitor of the teacher class is a Jonin, the deputy monitor is a special Jonin, and the rest of the grade directors and office directors are Chunin. Seeing that Muyu, who is a few years younger than himself and has just become a teacher in the ninja school not long ago, has become a special jonin. Ikigami Young can't help but envy him. If he is a special jonin, it will be easier to chase girls. Promoted so soon, Wed Ai was also very surprised. Although she knew that Miyu would be promoted sooner or later with her teaching level, she didn't expect it to come so soon. Thinking about it carefully, it was reasonable. He brought out a class like Class 1, Grade 1, with outrageous results, and also created a summer special training to improve the strength of the graduating students. The Chunin teachers all looked at Miyu with great envy, but there was only envy. After all, Miyu's results were real. If they were in his place, they really didn't have the confidence to teach such results. Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded secretly in his heart after seeing the expressions of Miyu and other Chunins. This direct promotion of Miyu to a special jonin will not only make Miyu particularly grateful to him, but other Chunins will also think that the third Hokage is a talented person, and they will work harder in teaching in the future in order to be promoted. This is a good thing that only requires a little preparation in advance to achieve multiple goals. Hey, what are the students doing there? A teacher asked curiously. It should be announced after my shadow clone has sorted out the results. The final results will be compared with the initial group test results for the last time, so that students can see their progress more intuitively. Miyu explained with a smile. Except for the more special Group A, the two groups BC were all grade standards from the beginning to the end. Let's go and see the students' progress, Sarutobi Hiruzen said with a smile, leading the teachers over. Miyu also showed a sincere smile and followed Sarutobi Hiruzen. Unlike the grateful expression at the beginning, this time his smile was from the heart. However, his smile was not because of the position of special jonin, but because the system's reward arrived, and it was more than he thought. Under your guidance, the students who participated in the summer special training have made progress in ninjutsu and taijutsu, and their overall strength has improved. Awards: Chakra plus 800, Ninjutsu Proficiency Scroll, Combined Ninjutsu, Proficient Level. There was no improvement reward given by the summer special training that he could not use. Needless to say, chakra is not too much for him. Ninjutsu Proficiency Scrolls can be given to those who need to continue to improve ninjutsu or high difficulty ninjutsu, and combination ninjutsu can allow him to further improve his output ability after mastering a large number of ninjutsu. And the rewards are not just the rewards for the summer special training. Miyu continued to look at the system notification below. Disciple Uchiha Shisui worked hard to practice and achieved perfect results in the summer special training, and received a reward, Chakra plus 200. Disciple Uchiha Obito worked hard to practice and achieved excellent results in the summer special training, and received a reward, Chakra plus 150. Disciple Might Guy worked hard to practice and achieved excellent results in the summer special training, and received a reward, Chakra plus 150. Another 500 chakras were credited. Looking at the test results, Miyu could only say that the system bug was indeed difficult to get. His guess was half right and half wrong. The exam he took could indeed trigger the system exam reward, but there were triggering conditions that he didn't know about. It could be the interval between the exams, or it could be the student's improved strength during the exams. Miyu couldn't determine which factor it was for a while. However, since there are rewards, the exam can still be done. However, taking the exam every few days to brush the system rewards will definitely not work. Chakra directly increased by 1,300 points, and the chakra increased by half a small card. Of course, Miyu was happy from the bottom of her heart. Miyu opened the panel and began to check her latest attributes. Name: Hanyu Miyu. Chakra: 15,300. Now Miyu's total chakra has reached the level of 6 small cards. Miyu can only say that the summer special training is really well organized. Originally, he was prepared for the chakra increase rate to decrease after the holiday, but the actual increase due to the summer special training was even greater than when he was in school. In just over a month, the chakra increased by a full 3,250 points. You must know that this is the increase without the settlement of the training tasks. Miyu has not yet calculated the benefits of obtaining ninjutsu. The increase in chakra has many components. The largest part is the settlement of promotion and exam settlement. The others are the rewards for class, the return of apprenticeship, and the return of apprenticeship to the master. In addition, Miyu's natural increase in chakra this month has also increased. Chakra is a combination of physical energy and spiritual energy. Since he mastered the breath of rock, Miyu's physique has been slowly getting stronger every day with the blessing of Changzong. So the natural growth of chakra has also increased. Miyu estimated that his chakra may break through the 20,000 mark before the end of the next semester. You have made a lot of progress, from 12 points to 23 points. Yours is not bad either, from 15 points to 25 points. When Miyu and others passed by, the students were happily discussing their progress with their companions. Comparing with data can indeed show progress very intuitively, and the teachers were amazed again. After looking at the scores, Miyu gathered the students together for the final speech. "Are you satisfied with your academic performance?" Miyu asked with a smile. "Satisfied. I didn't expect to improve so much in 5 weeks." "Teacher Miyu, you are so amazing. I never thought that improving strength would be so simple." The students answered Miyu's questions in a flurry. The specific words may be different, but the meaning they expressed was that they were very satisfied. It seems that everyone is satisfied with their own improvement. But what I want to say here is that the most important thing for such improvement is your own efforts. If you continue to work hard in the future, everyone will become an excellent ninja in the future. Miyu said with a serious look. This is probably the greatest kindness he has shown to his students in the past month. It is not to improve the favorability and improve the training efficiency, nor to get the promotion reward to make students practice harder through various methods, but simply hope that these children can strengthen their strength and save their lives in a future war. Miyu, who has traveled through time for less than 5 months, has no sense of belonging to Konoha, and only wants to strengthen his strength to remove the curse on his body. But he thinks that anyone who has received modern education should not have the heart to watch a child around 10 years old fight on the battlefield. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 = 9 plus book bar released this novel for the first time. Unfortunately, Miyu is now a clay Buddha crossing the river and can't protect himself. While busy with development, he has to worry about being discovered by Danzo, the old silver brother. No matter how reluctant he is, it's useless. Sarutobi Hiruzen, the biggest boss, was present at the scene. After Miyu finished speaking, he sensibly invited Sarutobi Hiruzen to give a speech. "Actually, I was a little worried before coming here today, but after seeing the progress of you kids, I felt relieved." Sarutobi Hiruzen smiled kindly. "I am very pleased to see that the new era of the village is all about such efforts, because the struggle and sacrifice of the predecessors have not been in vain, and the village has been thriving." As he spoke, Sarutobi Hiruzen said the famous saying of the Will of Fire, "Where the leaves of Konoha dance, the fire will also continue. The flames will continue to illuminate the village and let the new leaves sprout. You are the new leaves of Konoha, and there is nothing that makes me happier than seeing you grow." The third generation held a pipe in his right hand and said with a smile on his face with his left hand behind his back. Miyu stood behind the third generation Hokage, and he faced the students with a gentle smile. He remembered a sentence: "That year when I was 18, I stood like a minion." After the third generation finished speaking, it was really time to end and it was time to disband. However, the students did not disperse immediately. Instead, they held Miyu back and tied his eyes, saying they wanted to give him a surprise. After using the perception ninjutsu to explore the area nearby, Miyu let the students push him away. Dang dang dang, a huge 5-layer cake. With the energetic voice of Hongdu, Miyu's covered eyes regained their sight. He saw that he was surrounded by students and there was a huge cake in front of him that was only slightly shorter than him. On the top of the cake were 18 kunai-style desserts, and the cake was also filled with densely packed small candles. "Teacher Miyu, thank you for your guidance over the past month," the students said in unison. Among the more than 300 students, More than half of them were not very familiar with Muyu before the special training began. Some of them had only substituted for a class once, and some may have only heard of Muyu's reputation. But during the more than 1 month of getting along with Muyu, they all fell in love with this teacher who was strong in teaching ability and extremely gentle. When the groups were first formed, many students were disappointed with Muyu. They felt that Muyu was the kind of teacher who would treat students differently based on their grades, and would put the poor and average students together. But they soon found out that they were wrong. The grouping was not to be better for students with good grades, but to make teaching arrangements more reasonable. Although Group A was basically for outstanding students from each class, Muyu did not favor Group A. One shadow clone took care of one group, and the main body taught the 3 groups in a cycle, without saying which group would receive more care. Every student had received guidance from Muyu's main body. Even if they did not take the initiative to ask Muyu questions, Muyu would take the initiative to teach them when she saw them. Muyu could accurately call out the names of each of them. Instead of asking them what was wrong, Muyu said that the students worked very hard, but the students knew that Muyu worked harder than them. Muyu taught them when they were practicing, and she rarely rested during breaks, and would take the opportunity to talk about some theoretical knowledge related to practice. No matter how tired they are just practicing alone. Muyu not only teaches back and forth between the 3 groups, but also has to create 3 shadow clones to make up for the time when the main body is not there. It is really one person doing 4 things. The excellent students may not feel it deeply, but the ordinary students and poor students who are rarely cared for by teachers really feel the warmth from the teacher in Muyu. What they didn't get from ordinary teachers was actually obtained from the famous excellent teacher, which really surprised the students. This is the biggest motivation for many students to work hard. They can't let such a good teacher Muyu down. The cake was bought by everyone. The 18 kunai are because teacher Muyu is 18 years old this year. There are a total of 359 candles on it, and everyone put one on it. Obito explained the students' intentions to Muyu with great interest. Looking at the innocent smiling faces around, Muyu's eyes flickered and her heart was touched. Students of this age are innocent. If you are good to them, they will be good to you, although they don't know what the purpose is in the hearts of those who are good to them. After you have enough ability, you can do something within your ability, Muyu thought to herself. Although this world is rotten, there are still many lovely people. The teacher has received your kindness. I am really troubling everyone, Muyu said with a smile as bright as the warm sun. No trouble. If teacher Muyu is willing to be the head teacher of class 6 of grade 4, it will be fine, Shire Anui Genjian said with a smile. Yes, teacher Muyu, you can be the head teacher of class 3 of grade 4, so that you can often teach me. The same goes for class 1 of grade 4. The students of class 2 of grade 4 smiled but said nothing. They believed that as long as Ikutani Yu was there, teacher Muyu would be their teacher. No. This kind of thing is absolutely not possible. Teacher Muyu can only be the head teacher of class 1 of grade 1. Hongdu protected Muyu in front of her, looking at the students around her cautiously. Let's share the cake together. If I eat this cake alone, you probably won't see your teacher Muyu again in the future. Muyu smiled with a relaxed face. Hearing Muyu's words, the students temporarily stopped fighting for the ownership of Muyu and began to receive the cake one by one. Muyu thought that one person was too slow, so he directly created several shadow clones to help cut together. The only thing the old man did right this year was to invite teacher Muyu to be a tutor, Asuma thought while eating cake. Since each student's family background is different, those with money will contribute more, and those without money will contribute less or contribute more. Asuma directly contributed most of his saved pocket money, and he was the one who contributed the most. The next step was to chat while eating cake, and everyone talked about the interesting things that happened during training. Brother Ebisu, I have good news to tell you, Gangziti said to Ebisu excitedly. What good news? Ebisu asked, a little depressed. He still didn't understand why he was criticized. Your reputation as a genius has spread to the Hokage. Gangziti replied. Brother Ebisu, you really have to treat Ziti to food this time. This time he bravely ran to the teacher's group. Shenu Izumo also said with a smile. What genius? Ebisu felt something was wrong. He had a very scary answer in his mind, and he also found the reason why he was criticized inexplicably. It was like this at that time. I heard Teacher Muyu mentioned my name, and the Hokage was right next to Teacher Muyu. I deliberately said out loud the name of Brother Ebisu, the main contributor to the perfection of the art of confusing the enemy. Gangziti said proudly, "But Brother Ebisu, you don't have to take it to heart. This is a return for your kindness in preaching to us." Gangziti said generously, in front of the Hokage. Ebisu's face turned pale. It seemed that his ninja journey would end before it even began. "Brother Ebisu, why don't you smile? Don't you like to laugh?" Shinu Izumo felt that something was wrong with Ebisu. Hard. The fist was hard. "I really should treat you two to something. Cake for you." Ebisu couldn't hold it in any longer, and smeared the unfinished cake on the two people's faces. Then a chain reaction started, which led to a cake war. Although everyone was embarrassed in the end, most people were very happy. "Don't be too sad. I'm no longer teaching in the ninja school. You can ask me if you have any problems. I will always be your teacher." Muyu said at the end. Muyu was in a good mood today, and her chakra increased slightly. Today, it can be regarded as the second gift she received since she traveled through time. On the way back, Asuma saw the third generation who was waiting for him. Asuma remembered Muyu's words before, and felt a little moved. Then he said, "How do you feel about my battle today?" "Too many mistakes. If it were me, I could have more than 100 ways to win." Sarutobi Hiruzen shook his head and said. Asuma's face darkened, and he walked past Sarutobi Hiruzen and went home. "This time it's not short, I finished it in one breath, and there are 2 small chapters later." If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 116, 3 Generations of Kindness. After returning home, Muyu opened the scroll given to him by the third Hokage and took a look. After reading it, Muyu found that this was equivalent to the appointment letter of the special Jonin, with the signature of Sarutobi Hiruzen, the Hokage, on it. It was more formal than the Chunin. In the original owner's memory, there was only a piece of paper to be promoted to Chunin, and the special Jonin was at least written on the scroll. Putting the scroll in the study, Muyu began to read the sealing technique information given by Kushina. The 5-element seal is much more difficult than Muyu imagined. It is indeed a very difficult sealing technique. Now it has been 12 days since he started to learn the 5-finger seal, but Muyu's 5-element seal is still stuck at a proficiency of more than 80 and cannot get started. Muyu is thinking about whether to use the ninjutsu proficiency scroll on the 5-finger seal, so that he should be able to master the 5-element seal instantly. After thinking about it, he gave up. It was a waste to use the ninjutsu proficiency scroll on a practical ninjutsu. After all, it's not that he can't practice it. His talent for sealing is really good. Muyu wanted to save this good thing that can directly upgrade the difficulty of ninjutsu to the proficient level for high difficulty ninjutsu. If there is a chance to obtain Flying Thunder God and successfully get started, the ninjutsu proficiency scroll will come in handy. According to the system's rule that the proficiency of obtaining the same ninjutsu can be stacked, maybe smashing several proficiency scrolls in a row can smash out a master ninjutsu. After a long time, Muyu heard a knock on the door downstairs, so he put down the sealing technique information and went down to open the door. "Muyu Jonin, this is what the third generation asked me to give you." The ninja handed the 3 scrolls to Muyu. Muyu thanked him and invited him to come in for tea. The ninja who delivered the things shook his head and declined and left. Muyu thought that the ninjas under the third generation were still more qualified than those under Danzo. At least they would not appear in his house quietly and knock on the door. Muyu opened the scrolls one by one. The first scroll recorded 2 ninjutsu, namely Water Style, Water Rush Wave, and Fire Style, Great Dragon Fire Technique. Both ninjutsu are pretty good. Water Shockwave not only requires few seals, but also integrates attack and defense. It can turn the water flow into a water tornado to protect itself, and can also control the water like a waterfall to attack the enemy. Hail Long Fire is also a very flexible fire escape. However, Hail Long Fire Muyu has already mastered it, and he has also obtained it once in a lecture, but it is not a complete failure. He can use these two ninjutsu openly in the future. As for the second scroll, it is a simple 300,000 taels of banknotes. Considering the monthly salary of 100,000 taels for teachers in the ninja school, Sarutobi Hiruzen almost tripled his salary this time. Muyu accepted it with peace of mind, which was what he deserved. He taught 8 classes in the 4th grade alone, and also taught some outstanding students in other grades and some graduated genin. Even if Sarutobi Hiruzen gave him 10 times the salary, it was still the reward he deserved. The third scroll was Sarutobi Hiruzen's arrangement for his next work. The ninja school will start in 9 days. Teachers will start school a week earlier than students. Muyu will go to the ninja school in 2 days. Sarutobi Hiruzen said that he wanted to promote Muyu to the deputy monitor of the teacher class, but after all, Muyu has been in the ninja school for a short time and has only served as an ordinary teacher so far, which is easy to cause controversy. So let Muyu be the grade director for 1 semester first, and then promote Muyu to the deputy monitor of the teacher class in the 3rd semester. The content of this scroll is what Muyu cares about the most. He doesn't care about the salary increase brought by the promotion, but he can use the power after the promotion to seek more rewards for himself. Through the summer special training, we can know that the reward for large classes is twice that of ordinary classes. Then he can apply for the reform of the ninja school curriculum and add some large classes to get more rewards. In addition, increasing large classes can also relieve the pressure of ninja school teachers' courses. For example, Ikigami Young, who teaches 2 classes, has almost a full schedule. Of course, it is impossible to have large classes for all classes. Muyu is confident that he can take care of hundreds or even thousands of people in ninjutsu and taijutsu classes. But ordinary chunin teachers do not have this ability and will definitely make a mess of teaching. Muyu is going to apply for large classes for theoretical classes, such as the history of the ninja world, the history of Konoha, and mathematics. Theoretical classes are relatively not as difficult to teach as ninjutsu and taijutsu classes. No matter how many people are there, they will stand on the top to teach. As long as the students listen carefully, the effect will not be much different. Through this scroll, Muyu can feel the kindness of Sarutobi Hiruzen to him. Sarutobi Hiruzen may tolerate a rude ninja to be an ordinary teacher honestly, but Sarutobi Hiruzen will not take the initiative to promote a rude ninja to a senior position in the ninja school. Muyu estimates that he will soon be able to leave the route, and maybe he will not even need to break the curse seal himself. At that time, Danzo will have to help him break it personally. In Konoha, Danzo can't beat Sarutobi Hiruzen, because the Hokage can really do whatever he wants. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar 6=9+_. During dinner, Muyu told Kushina and Minato about his promotion to Special Jonin. Is the 3rd generation old man also so quick? Kushina was a little surprised. She didn't expect that the 3rd generation would directly arrange Muyu's Special Jonin on the day of the meeting. Let's go together when we have meetings in the future. Minato smiled gently, happy that Muyu became a Special Jonin. There is a big gap between Chunin and Jonin, even Special Jonin, which is directly 2 levels. It may not be obvious at ordinary times, but during war, the right to speak between the 2 is completely different. Jonin can lead the team to perform important tasks. Before, I thought that Muyu had a good talent for sealing techniques, and you should be able to be promoted to Special Jonin with sealing techniques. It seems that I underestimated you, Muyu. Kushina sighed with a smile. Before, after she tested Muyu's talent for sealing techniques, she wanted to help Muyu through sealing techniques, but Muyu was too good at teaching. As soon as this sealing technique got on track, he became a Special Jonin directly through teaching ability. I'm still far behind you and Minato. Becoming a formal Jonin is my next goal, Muyu replied with a smile. If you practice hard, you will definitely succeed, Minato encouraged. Since Kushina had mentioned the sealing technique before, Muyu quickly led the topic to the practice of sealing techniques and raised some of the problems he encountered. He would not put all his hopes on others. He still had to do the research work he should do, and he would continue to learn the sealing technique. It is always good to have many skills, even if it is not for breaking the root seal. Mastering more advanced sealing techniques can improve the overall strength. Chapter 117 Muyu, the dedicated and responsible. After finishing his meal, Muyu thought for a while, and finally took out a blank scroll and began to write a mission report for Danzo. Although according to the current trend, Sarutobi Hiruzen should soon ask for someone, he can't open champagne at halftime. He has to make sure everything is foolproof. Muyu wrote about Sarutobi Hiruzen's inspection today, and focused on describing the praise and respect of the third Hokage, creating an atmosphere that the third Hokage is very optimistic about him and wants to win him over. He also wrote the rewards he gave later, to highlight the importance of the third Hokage to him. Only the content of the work arrangement scroll was not written into the report. If Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't task Danzo for someone for a while, then this mission report can continue to maintain his loyal root ninja persona, and to a certain extent prevent Danzo from making trouble. Although he is also a ninja on a mission, Muyu doesn't trust Danzo at all, and he tries his best to prevent possible accidents. If the third Hokage asks for someone soon as he expected, this scroll will not have any negative impact, and it can even prevent Danzo from secretly disgusting him after he leaves the route. That's why Muyu didn't write down the work arrangement that Sarutobi Hiruzen told him about in the report. If he didn't write it down, even if the task report that Muyu submitted this time finally reached the third Hokage, Muyu was just fulfilling the task assigned by Danzo, not a die-hard root fan. The work arrangement scroll contained content that Danzo didn't know. As long as Muyu didn't leak it, only the third Hokage and him knew about it. If he didn't write it down, Danzo wouldn't know about it. Muyu put the written scroll on his body and went to the South Forest to teach his disciples. Good evening, Teacher Muyu. Obito and Nohara Rin also happened to arrive and greeted Muyu with a smile on their faces. Obito, Zealand, you also have good evening. Muyu responded with a smile. Since Nohara Rin also joined the forest training after school, Obito came a little earlier. Practice, learn the breathing method as soon as possible. Obito was full of energy today. Because Obito was unlucky in the strength test today, the number of lots he drew was close to Shisui, so he met Shisui in the second round, and then was abused by Shisui. Fortunately, the practical exam not only looks at the ranking but also the score. Although Obito was eliminated in the second round, he performed very well in both battles and scored high scores, otherwise it might affect Muyu's reward. Shisui is very strong, and Obito was very convinced by the beating, but he still felt unwilling in his heart. Because Shisui is not only of the same race as him, but also 2 years younger than him, but he can suppress him in battle. In the practice of flame breathing, Obito saw the hope of surpassing Shisui. Flame breathing is undoubtedly an extremely powerful secret technique, and he just happens to have an unexpected talent in this secret technique. This is a good opportunity to overtake on the curve. As soon as Obito started practicing, he asked Muyu to help tie and fix him to assist in practice. Seeing that Obito was so diligent, Muyu was very satisfied. School is about to start, and Obito's training task will soon have the opportunity to be settled. If Obito does not work hard to practice and improve the progress of flame breathing within this month, then this training task will definitely fail. Muyu can't interfere with Might Guy because of the training task and let Obito get first place. There is no reward for second place, so it won't be like this. The more correct approach should be to encourage Obito to practice harder. Since Might Guy understood what he had taught before in the battle, Muyu was ready to start a new round of teaching. What you have to do next is to feel the power of the rock and try to merge with the rock, Muyu said to Might Guy. The words sound a bit abstract, but it is indeed an indispensable practice process for breathing, because breathing is somewhat idealistic. In the words of the Hokage, it has something to do with spiritual energy and yin escape. The stronger the belief, the stronger the breathing will be. If the belief is weak, even the sword will become fragile. Try to merge with the rock. Might Guy thought about it, and felt as if he understood Muyu's idea, and used the transformation technique to turn himself into a stone. Teacher Muyu, do you want to practice breathing in this state? Might Guy asked. Muyu didn't know how to answer for a while. In the memory of the rock breathing practice that came out of his mind, he completed this step while sitting on a stone. But thinking carefully, turning into a stone should be better than sitting on a stone. Why don't you sit on a rock and transform into a rock? Muyu thought for a moment and said, only children make choices. He wants both, and stacks two together. Might Guy cancels his transformation, then finds a big rock to sit on and then uses his transformation. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar 6 = 9 plus book _ bar publishes this novel for the first time. After the training, Muyu used the appraisal technique to look at Might Guy, and his proficiency was still 19 points, the same as yesterday, and it didn't increase today. Muyu was not surprised. The practice of rock breathing was difficult, and the effect of the previous enlightenment was almost consumed. It would not be easy to increase so quickly next time. It was possible that there would be no increase in 5 days. Muyu looked at Obito's proficiency in fire breathing. Obito's proficiency was steadily increasing, and now he has 8 points of proficiency. Why did you turn into a stone? Obito asked, puzzled. Teacher, Muyu asked me to merge with the stone and feel the power of the rock. I thought that turning into a stone is equivalent to merging with the stone. Might Guy said honestly. Being integrated with the stone, will the training be so difficult in the future? Obito scratched the back of his head after hearing what Might Guy said. If the breath of rock is to be integrated with the rock, then his breath of flame must be integrated with the flame. Can the transformation technique be transformed into flame, and must jump into the fire? Actually, I have a good idea. You hollow out a piece of stone and sleep in it. When you sleep, you will be integrated with the rock. Then you will definitely practice very fast, Obito said with a brainwave. Might Guy showed a serious thinking expression. Then you will sleep in the fire during the next training? Muyu tapped Obito's head with 2 fingers together. Sleeping in the stone to comprehend the rock. The breathing method is not so abstract. It's different. Sleeping in the fire will burn you to death, but sleeping in the stone will at most make your back a little uncomfortable. Obito laughed. Comprehension of the power of the rock. Shisui showed a thoughtful look. If it is just to sense the power of the elements, then can the breath of flame comprehend the power of the flame through the practice of changing the nature? After the training, Muyu placed the scroll he carried with him to the place where he submitted the mission report, and then went home to wait for a reply. Chapter 118. New semester begins. The next morning, Muyu noticed some movement and then used the perception ninjutsu directly, and found that a person with strong chakra entered his courtyard. Muyu calmly stood up and walked out, and saw a ninja wearing a root uniform and a mask in the courtyard. The latest instructions of the organization, the root ninja said coldly and handed 2 scrolls to Muyu. After completing the task, the root ninja did not stay for a second and disappeared directly. Name, Yamanaka Ruya. Chakra, 6400. Skill, heart-turning technique. Proficiency, 2803 thousandths. Evaluation, a jounin with good auxiliary ability. The root jounin who once made Muyu uneasy has been crushed by Muyu on the panel. Muyu's chakra is more than twice that of Yamanaka Ruya, and his skills are even more crushing. Muyu has many master-level nature changes and secrets, while Yamanaka Ruya does not even have a master-level skill. It's meaningless to compare with this ordinary root jounin. What level will Danzo's panel be? Muyu thought silently in his heart. If this is a world of immortal cultivation, Genin, Chunin, and Jonin are not positions but cultivation levels. He thinks Danzo should be at the level of Kage, but he is not strong among Kages, and cannot be compared with Sarutobi Hiruzen, the third Raikage, and Inoki. Muyu opened the scroll, and the first scroll was Danzo's latest order. Danzo was very satisfied that Muyu could be promoted to a special Jonin with his ability, but Danzo told Muyu not to reveal his identity as a member of the root organization, and to continue to work hard on the mission on this basis. Muyu summarized only so much useful content, and the rest were some brainwashing words, which Muyu ignored directly. He could feel that Danzo was a little surprised that he could do this. Danzo sending him to the ninja school should be just a casual move. After all, the original owner was not excellent in all aspects. The other scroll was Danzo's reward for him. but it was not ninjutsu and money but a secret medicine for cultivation. Muyu burned the task scroll and put away the secret medicine. He didn't dare to take the secret medicine that Danzo sent him, but the value of the secret medicine for training was not low, so Muyu didn't burn it directly. Today is Sunday, and the summer special training just ended yesterday. Muyu gave the students a half-day holiday. They didn't need to practice in the afternoon, but only needed to practice in the morning. It happened that he would go to teach Asuma in the afternoon. Where should we go to play in the afternoon? Before starting to practice, Obito was already thinking about where Nohara-rin should go to play. Sorry, Obito, I have to read materials at home today, Nohara-rin said apologetically. Recently, she has been studying the relevant knowledge of medical ninjutsu and has no time to play with Obito for the time being. Obito, you can go and play with Kakashi, Nohara-rin suggested. Think about it carefully. I can feel the energy in my body more clearly recently. Maybe the breath of fire is about to break through. I should practice seriously in the afternoon. After thinking for a while, Obito decided to practice well. He ate too much and went to play with Kakashi alone. Unless Obito achieved something worth showing off in front of Kakashi, he could inform Kakashi. Training is good. We will graduate soon, and we will be ninjas by then. Nohara-rin smiled gently. 2 semesters are not too long, and with the holidays, it's about 7 months. Ninja, I'm so excited. I can do missions to make money, and I don't need the pocket money given by grandma, and I can buy her gifts. After hearing Nohara-rin's words, Obito began to imagine his ninja career. First, you have to make money, and then you have to have strength. The higher the amount of money, the harder the mission. Muyu knocked on Obito and interrupted his fantasy. Ninja is indeed a profession that makes money quickly. Putting aside the S-level missions that ordinary ninjas can't get, the commission amounts of the 3 levels of DCB missions are actually quite a lot. The minimum for D level is 5,000 taels and the maximum is 50,000 taels. The C level is 30,000 taels to 100,000 taels. And the B-level mission can get a commission of up to 200,000 taels. This is why capable ninjas don't go to be chunin teachers, who only get 100,000 taels a month, and doing 2 more C-level missions will exceed this amount. Not every C-level mission will encounter a jonin opponent. In fact, normal C-level missions will not encounter ninja enemies. Ninja enemies may appear, and then the mission level is B or above. Ninjas make a lot of money but also spend money quickly. Good quality shuriken and kunai are not cheap, and advanced ninja tools such as detonating talismans are even more expensive. The secret medicine for training is also very expensive. If you have a fixed monthly salary of 100,000 ryo, don't even think about using money for training. You can't afford the cost of continuing to become stronger. However, for those who want to play badly, being a teacher in a ninja school is still a good choice, because if you are not capable, you can't complete C-level missions quickly, so you can't make much money in a month, and you still need to run around, which is not easy at all. It is better to stay in the ninja school comfortably and get a monthly salary of 100,000 ryo, and there will be bonuses for leading the class with good grades. Moreover, after stopping ninja training, the 100,000 ryo can be used to enjoy all of it, and your life will be very comfortable. Obito laughed twice and began to practice the breathing of fire today. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 = 9 plus book _ bar is the first to publish this novel. In the afternoon, Muyu went to Sarutobi Hiruzen's house as usual and took Asuma away to teach him. Muyu noticed that Asuma seemed to be in a bad mood, so she asked the reason in a gentle voice. Because it was Muyu who asked, Asuma told her what happened yesterday, and even got more excited. He is like this every time, as if I am useless in his eyes. When asked about his performance, it is always no good, and there are always too many mistakes. He is not even willing to say that it is okay. Is it true that I was so bad in that battle that I couldn't be worse? As Asuma gradually choked up, his eyes were covered with mist. Muyu could only say that Asuma still had great feelings for Sarutobi Hiruzen, otherwise it wouldn't be like this. Don't worry, you have tried your best in that battle, but Obito is stronger. Muyu touched Asuma's head and comforted him. In fact, he could understand Asuma's psychology at this time. because his parents in his previous life were also extremely demanding on grades. Muyu's grades in elementary and middle school were pretty good. He often got high scores in math and Chinese, and often got full marks in math. But when Muyu got full marks, his parents would tell him that the exam was easy and the teacher was lenient in marking the papers. In short, it was not Muyu's own ability. But if he didn't get full marks, then Muyu didn't study hard and fell into decline. Over time, Muyu gradually lost confidence in himself. Later, he was left alone for 2 years because of an accident and fell into depravity. It was not until he was in the second year of high school that he suddenly realized it. Did his parents not want him to be good? No, he could see that his parents loved him very much, but his parents were very rough in teaching people. They were worried that Muyu would be complacent and then fall into decline, and hoped that Muyu would maintain a humble and studious attitude. Teacher, you can see it, why can't he, a Hokage, see it? Asuma was still very resentful. Fortunately, Muyu's favorability with Asuma was high enough. After comforting him for a while, he said something like Sarutobi Hiruzen was waiting for him on the road as a father, which stabilized Asuma's emotions. After venting, and after an afternoon of training, Asuma's mood improved significantly. Sarutobi Hiruzen, you have to be more powerful and don't let me down, Muyu said in his heart. As a tutor, he had to help maintain family relationships. He really did his best. On Monday, Muyu went to the ninja school to attend the teacher meeting. This chapter was written with some personal emotions. The protagonist's experience is exactly what the author experienced. How should I put it? It's quite melancholy. Chapter 119, Conducting a Large-Scale Trial. Teacher Muyu, good morning. Well, good morning to you too, Mr. Kubo. Teacher Muyu, have you had breakfast? Do you want to have a meal together after the meeting? I have, thank you. In the morning, perhaps because the news of Muyu's promotion to Special Jonin has spread among the teachers, many more people greeted Muyu. Fortunately, Muyu now has a good memory. He can basically remember the names of everyone he has dealt with, and he can handle it calmly. The first meeting of the new semester is a meeting of all teachers in the lecture hall. However, the third Hokage did not come this time, and the monitor of the teacher class was in charge. A new semester has begun. I hope that everyone can continue to work hard on teaching in this semester and strive to cultivate excellent ninjas for the village, the monitor of the teacher class said. The monitor of the teacher class is obviously a relatively ordinary leader. When he opened his mouth, Muyu was reminded of the time when the school leaders spoke in the past. It is hard to say whether it is useful or not, but it is quite boring. The first meeting did not have much substantive content. Basically, it was to bring out the excellent teacher cases of the previous semester for everyone to learn from. In addition, any major job changes would also be mentioned here. Teacher Muyu will serve as the head teacher of the first grade and be responsible for the teaching arrangements of the first grade, the monitor of the teacher class said with a smile on his face about the job arrangement of Muyu. Teacher Muyu is an excellent teacher in our ninja school. During the holidays, she took the trouble to train students. She is a role model for everyone to learn from. Muyu stood up and responded. The teachers applauded enthusiastically, and no one was surprised. Apart from the nominal principal of the Sandai, Muyu is now the only third Jonin in the ninja school, and a special Jonin who was promoted for outstanding teaching ability. It is normal for her to be promoted. Muyu Jonin, congratulations on your promotion, Kimura Shanron joked. Yes, Muyu Jonin, you have been promoted from an ordinary teacher to a head teacher in one semester. It's enviable. Iketani Young also said with a smile. Weda Aya also participated. They are all in the same small office and have a good relationship, at least on the surface. Just call me Muyu as before. It feels weird to bring a Jonin, and I'm not a formal Jonin, just a special Jonin. Muyu smiled gently. Special Jonin is also a Jonin, but it's more comfortable to call me Muyu. Ikugaya Young laughed. Teacher Muyu, you can't celebrate your promotion and salary increase. Let's go to the Isaac Hayden night for a drink. I'll treat you. Ikugaya Young invited. There was still a lot of bonus left from the previous outstanding teacher, so he was very generous. I'll go too. Kimura Shanron hooked his arm around Ikugaya Young's shoulder and said, you can go. But you pay for it yourself. Muyu treats. But I pay for it myself? Kimura Shanron grabbed his throat directly. Okay, I'll treat you alright. Seeing that Kimura Shanron had borrowed money to make ends meet, Ikuge Ayuong decided to treat everyone together. What about me? Weda Ai asked. Then Weda Ai pinched her throat and called Ikuge Ayuong in a tone similar to calling Gigi, which scared Ikuge Ayuong to the point of goosebumps, and decisively said that everyone would have a share. Muyu smiled and nodded. This kind of relationship is fine. He doesn't mind the occasional gathering of colleagues, but Muyu's main body is very busy, so he usually sends a shadow clone over. With the strength of Ikamiyu and others, it can't be seen. Muyu feels that there is no one else. The clones who suffer in the heavens and the worlds are completely different from him. The main body is working hard to teach students, and the clones go to drink and have dinner. There is no way. The clone has no effective skills. In order to make the students stronger as soon as possible, he tries his best to teach the main body so that the students can get the blessing of teaching skills. In the afternoon, Muyu was in a meeting again, but this meeting was not a general meeting but a small meeting. The only teachers who attended the meeting were the grade directors and the dean of teaching of each grade, and it was held in the conference room. The dean of teaching is the monitor of the teacher class. There are many substantive contents of this meeting. Basically, it is to decide the teaching arrangements for this semester. Dean Shimano, I have an idea that can reduce the teaching pressure of teachers, Muyu said. Everyone looked at Muyu. Although Muyu was a newcomer, no one dared to underestimate Muyu. This teacher was valued by the third-generation Hokage. Shimano Hisanobu smiled and nodded, saying, now the teaching pressure on teachers is indeed quite high, and the courses are very full. I wonder what teacher Muyu's solution is? Integrate courses and conduct large class teaching, Muyu said. Arrange the same courses for 2 or more classes at the same time, and let one teacher teach them together. Originally, 3 classes needed 3 teachers to teach, but only 1 teacher is needed for large class teaching. The teachers in the conference room all showed their thoughtfulness, and felt that Muyu's idea was indeed good and very useful in reducing the pressure on teachers. The error-free version is read at 69 book bar 6 = 9 plus book _ bar first published this novel. Will this affect the quality of students' learning? Shimano Hisanobu thought for a while and said, it sounds good, but can one teacher handle so many students? Even if the teacher is under great pressure, it will not affect the quality of students' teaching. I have tried large class teaching in the summer special training, and the effect is good. The students have made good progress, Muyu explained with a smile. There were 2 grade directors present who followed the 3rd generation to visit. Indeed, I remember that teacher Muyu taught in 3 groups. A grade teacher said, well, there are 359 people in total. I will teach them in 3 groups according to their learning progress. Muyu replied, in fact, we can conduct pilot teaching first, such as teaching only the 1st grade, and conducting experiments in the theoretical class first. Muyu said. He had already prepared relevant arguments and rehearsed many situations, which were still within his expectations. Only in the 1st grade, and it's just a theoretical class. Shimano Hisanobu thought for a while and felt that it was feasible. The 1st grade is still a long way from graduation, so it's okay to toss for a semester, and even if the theoretical class is lame, it's acceptable as long as the actual combat doesn't decline. Then this matter will be in charge of you, Mr. Muyu. Shimano Hisanobu finally nodded in approval. Well, I will try my best. Muyu smiled and nodded. Everything went as he expected. Next, as long as he arranged more big classes for himself, the strength of the 1st grade class was improved to get a wave of promotion rewards, and with the training task of Obito taking the 1st place, his strength will soon usher in another small increase. On the other side, Danzo was notified by the Anbu to go to the Hokage's office. Danzo didn't think anything about this. As a high-ranking official in Konoha, it was normal for the 3rd generation to discuss things with him. Chapter 120 Eyeshadow You Regret. Danzo walked into the Hokage's office without knocking. When Danzo entered, Sarutobi Hiruzen was standing in front of the huge French window in the Hokage's office, overlooking Konoha. The Hokage building was very tall, so tall that one could stand on it and have a panoramic view of Konoha's main city. Hiruzen, is there anything you want to discuss? Danzo asked. Sarutobi Hiruzen turned around, nodded, and said, take a look at the information on my desk. Danzo walked to the desk, picked up the information on it and began to look through it. The words Haniu Muiu instantly caught his eye. Seeing Muiu's name, Danzo narrowed his eyes slightly, and a guess immediately flashed through his mind. I just reminded him not to reveal his identity, and he was discovered. He is really incompetent, Danzo thought to himself. However, as an old actor, Danzo's expression did not change at all. He quickly finished reading the information. There was nothing else on it, only some information about Muiu. Isn't it just that a special jonin with outstanding teaching ability has been promoted? Do you and I need to confirm it together? Danzo said calmly. Since Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't make it clear, he pretended to know nothing. Hearing Danzo's words, Sarutobi Hiruzen laughed out loud. Haha, Danzo, are you sure this is just an ordinary special jonin? Sarutobi Hiruzen stared at Danzo with a smile. Does he have other special features besides the strong teaching ability recorded in the information? Danzo was still pretending to be stupid. He would never take the initiative to admit that he sent someone to the ninja school. Sarutobi Hiruzen put his pipe into his mouth, puffed out a cloud of smoke and said, Danzo, you don't have to play dumb with me here. I know he is a member of the root that you illegally cultivated. Then Sarutobi Hiruzen threw some more information to Danzo. After reading it, Danzo's face changed drastically. There was not only the information about his secret cultivation of Muiu, but also the training information of some other hidden players. How could he know? Danzo was a little confused. He didn't expect that his so-called hidden players were actually transparent in front of the third generation. Although Danzo established another Anbu, the root, under the slogan of training the Anbu, Sarutobi Hiruzen was not stupid. He couldn't watch Danzo's power expand infinitely. He limited the number of members of the root. This is exactly why Danzo cultivated Muiu and other hidden players. If he didn't give them the chance openly, he could only cultivate additional members secretly. I did all this to protect Konoha. The number of root members you stipulated is not enough to protect Konoha's safety. Danzo not only did not admit his mistake, but tried to get Sarutobi Hiruzen to relax the restrictions on the root. Now that the war is about to start, Konoha needs more root members to protect Konoha. Hiruzen, don't tell me you think Konoha can stay out of it. Danzo wanted to change the subject from the illegal cultivation to whether Konoha would be involved in the war and how to protect Konoha. But Danzo was smart. Sarutobi Hiruzen, who had been the Hokage for decades, was smarter than Danzo. He knew Danzo's thoughts and was not confused by Danzo's words. He knocked on the table and said, let's not talk about other things for now. Let's discuss your violation of the rules in training additional members. There are 5 people here, 3 of whom are descendants of war heroes. How dare you attack them? Danzo, do you want to destroy the will of fire of Konoha? Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes became sharp, staring at Danzo with a very oppressive look. The so-called war heroes are ninjas who died in the war. For example, Muyu's parents who died in the war are war heroes. Danzo didn't say anything. It's not so easy to fool and attack a normal child. The descendants of ninjas like Muyu are generally not too bad in talent. I am also training talents for Konoha. Danzo thought about it and still argued. Didn't you promote Haniu Muyu to a special jonin? Isn't that a talent? Maybe he will be better if you don't interfere, Sarutobi Hiruzen said bluntly. In his opinion, Muyu is indeed a good talent, with outstanding teaching ability, good sealing skills, good water escape and fire escape, and good interpersonal skills. Muyu is not suitable to stay in the root. Tomorrow you come to the Hokage building to remove the curse seal on him. Sarutobi Hiruzen said his ultimate goal. Getting Muyu is his goal today, and beating Danzo is a byproduct. Hiruzen, what do you mean? He is cultivated by me with my energy, and I am the leader of the root, Danzo said with a clenched fist. Although Muyu is not a member of the root that he values, being taken away like this is like the fruit of hard-planted trees being picked by others, which is aggrieved. If you refuse me, you will regret it, Sarutobi Hiruzen said lightly. Danzo's face was uncertain, and he did not answer Sarutobi Hiruzen's words for the time being. Then what should I do with the resources I spent on him? Danzo spoke. Sarutobi puffed out smoke and pointed to the information on the table. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus underscore. Danzo instantly understood what Sarutobi Hiruzen meant. If you train in violation of the rules, don't expect compensation. Danzo took a deep breath and said coldly, I will come tomorrow. After that, Danzo turned and left. When he reached the door, he spoke again. Hiruzen, you will regret it. I am the Hokage. Sarutobi Hiruzen reminded him while sitting on the chair. Bang! The wooden door of the office was slammed shut. As soon as he walked out of the office, Danzo's expression instantly returned to normal. It was just that a special jonin was asked to leave. He might be unhappy, but he would never be particularly angry. The reason why he showed an extremely angry look in the office was just to express his anger and let Sarutobi Hiruzen give compensation. Sarutobi Hiruzen did not want to compensate, but correspondingly, Sarutobi Hiruzen could pretend not to see the other 4 people who were trained in violation of the rules, except Miyu. This was exactly the subtext of Sarutobi Hiruzen pointing to the information on the table. So the two did not talk about other people except Miyu. The 4 people except Miyu will basically be members of the root organization by default in the future, but they will not be on the official list of members of the root organization. Luckily, Uchiha has not been discovered, Danzo thought to himself. When he saw the list of those hidden agents, Danzo's heart skipped a beat, thinking that the wood-release ninja he was hiding had been discovered. As long as his wood-release ninja was not discovered and the other hidden agents were all exposed, Danzo felt that the loss would not be too great. He believed in the power of wood-release. As long as the wood-release ninja could be trained, it was not certain who would have the final say in Konoha in the future. However, on the way back to the route, Danzo still felt a little angry. Yesterday, he was still thinking that after Miyu became a senior member of the ninja school, he would have one more person who could reach out to Konoha. But today Miyu was directly taken away. Go and notify Yi to come over. After returning to the root base, Danzo told his men. Chapter 121 Standing in the Sky. At night, Miyu did not go to the main city of Konoha, but studied the sealing technique in the house in the southern forest. Noticing that someone was moving quickly nearby, Miyu temporarily put down his practice and went out. Yi, Master Danzo has something to ask you, the root ninja said lightly. Do you need me to change into a uniform? Miyu asked. Although there is no formal organization of the root, he still has the uniform and mask of the root. No, just follow me. The root ninja shook his head and said. Miyu followed the root ninja silently, and vaguely guessed something in his heart. The day before yesterday, he asked him to be careful not to reveal his identity, and today he let him, the hidden man, go to the root base openly. Obviously, his identity no longer needs to be hidden. If nothing unexpected happens, he may have experienced I regret you in the Hokage's office today or yesterday. Although the next place to go is the root base, Miyu is not too panicked. He just reported the situation to Danzo a few days ago and told him the reward given to him by the 3rd generation. He is so loyal. He has now registered with the 3rd Hokage, and is a loyal person in the root, with the main focus being stability. Danzo-sama. After arriving at the root base, Miyu greeted Danzo with a respectful face. Yi, you are very good, Danzo suddenly said. It is all thanks to you, Lord Danzo, for your training. Without you, Lord Danzo, I would just be an ordinary orphan, Miyu said respectfully. Do you know that the 3rd Hokage thinks highly of you? Danzo continued. Maybe, on the day the special training ended, he praised me many times and gave me 2 ninjutsu and 300,000 ryo. Miyu answered according to the report he had written before. By the way, my position in the ninja school has also been promoted today, becoming the head of the 1st grade, which may also be promoted by the 3rd Hokage, Miyu added. Danzo nodded, revealing a thoughtful look. Danzo was testing whether Miyu knew that Sarutobi Hiruzen wanted Miyu to leave. After some probing, coupled with the mission reports from the previous few days, and the confidence in his brainwashing skills, Danzo temporarily determined that Miyu was loyal to him. I discussed with the Sandaime and felt that your talent, Miyu, should be used to train ninjas in the ninja school, rather than staying in the root. Danzo thought for a while and said, tomorrow I will go to the Hokage building to help you remove the root curse seal on your body, and from now on you will not be a ninja of the root. Danzo, is it because I did something wrong? Why did you expel me from the root? Miyu said with a look of panic. Danzo, I want to protect Konoha with you. At this time, Miyu's heart was extremely calm. He certainly didn't believe Danzo's nonsense. He also discussed with Sarutobi Hiruzen to better use his talent. Most of the time, he was forced to leave. Since Danzo wanted to act, he would accompany Danzo to act. Danzo was a good leader who let go of his subordinates in order to give full play to his subordinates, and he, Miyu, was a good subordinate who was loyal to the root. Looking at Miyu's performance, Danzo nodded with satisfaction. No matter what, Miyu is now loyal to the root and to Shimura. Danzo, no, you did a good job, but now you have a more important task, Danzo said slowly. Although you are no longer a member of the root organization, if one day my order reaches your hands again, will you still complete it? Of course I will complete it. The tasks of Lord Danzo are all important tasks to protect Konoha, Miyu said without hesitation. Danzo smiled and handed Miyu 2 scrolls. One of them is the advanced fire escape ninjutsu of the village, and the other is to practice secret medicine. You continue to work hard in the future. I will notify you when I need you, Danzo said. Danzo is not worried about his investment going to waste. Even if Miyu is no longer loyal in the future, Danzo has a way to make him loyal. The resources of his root are not so easy to get. I will definitely not let down Lord Danzo's painstaking efforts, Miyu said with a touched face. If there are more ninjas like Miyu in the root, I will not worry about no one to protect Konoha, Danzo said with satisfaction. You go back, practice well in the future, and wait for my call. Miyu finally left with a look of reluctance, and gave Danzo an appraisal before leaving. Name, Shimura Danzo. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus book _ bar. First published this novel. Chakra, 69,000. Skills, Wind Attribute Chakra Nature Change. Mastery, 5,000 15,000. Wind Escape Vacuum Wave. Mastery, 2,100 15,000. Potential, S. Basic Talent plus Sharingan. Just as he thought, Danzo should have the strength of the first level of Cage, but not particularly outstanding. Compared with his old classmate Sarutobi Hiruzen, Danzo's panel is much worse. Not only is the chakra difference of more than 100,000, but the skills are also incomparable. Unlike Sarutobi Hiruzen, all 5 basic nature changes are mastery level, and the proficiency of mastery level skills is also much worse than Sarutobi Hiruzen. There are not many mastery level ninjutsu, all of which are wind escape. However, Miyu did not underestimate Danzo. No matter what, Danzo is much stronger than him now. Although he is not proficient in many ninjutsu, Danzo has mastered many forbidden techniques. It is still quite difficult to deal with him in actual combat. You can see from his battle with Mangekyo Sasuke that without Obito's help, Sasuke may fall. After walking out of the root base for a distance, the expression on Miyu's face gradually returned to normal. The third generation wants someone, but you still don't want to let go. Being too persistent will make people annoyed. Miyu sighed in a low voice. He really wants to develop peacefully, and do what he can when he develops to a certain strength. But Danzo always seems to not want him to have an easy time. Suddenly, a root ninja in the yard will appear. He is going to let someone go but still doesn't give up and calls Miyu to the root. Miyu is very dissatisfied with Danzo, the root, and this dangerous world full of psychopaths. If his strength can reach a level that can suppress everything in the future, Miyu doesn't mind standing above the sky. Wants to make this world a little more normal. After returning home, Miyu took out the scroll given by Danzo and took a look at it. He found that the so-called advanced fire escape ninjutsu was the fire dragon flame bomb that he had already mastered, and Miyu lost interest directly. As for the secret medicine for cultivation, Miyu didn't even bother to take a look at it and threw it directly into the corner. Miyu continued to study the sealing technique. Judging from the current situation, Danzo seemed to want to use him as a nail to drive into the third generation. Then the research on the sealing technique cannot be stopped. Maybe one day Danzo will suddenly put a curse seal on him again. Miyu thought it shouldn't be on the day of the removal, otherwise it would be very embarrassing to be discovered by Sarutobi Hiruzen. Finally mastered it, Miyu nodded secretly in his heart as he looked at the 5-element seal that he had finally mastered, and then directly threw a skilled scroll on it, and a lot of knowledge about the sealing technique appeared in his mind. In a world where strength is supreme, only your own strength is the most reliable. Chapter 122. The root of tongue trouble is solved. Miyu went to work at ninja school as usual in the morning. As the head of the grade and a person in charge of the large class pilot program, he had to arrange the class schedule before the students came to school. Miyu thought for a while and decided to set the large class to 4 classes, and the 4 classes took the theory class together in the large classroom. First, he was afraid that he would not be able to trigger the reward for the large class because the number of students was too small. Second, there were exactly 8 classes in the first grade, and they could be taught by 2 different teachers to compare the situation. One of them must be him, and as for the remaining one, Miyu was going to ask which theory teacher was a little more reliable, and let the reliable one teach, so as not to have too big a difference in the results. Once this large class was arranged, the schedules of many first-year teachers became much easier. Miyu set it up like this, which was equivalent to a class that originally required 4 teachers to teach, and now only 1 teacher taught it, so that 3 teachers could rest at this time. A first-year teacher heard about Miyu's large class plan and came to the office to ask Miyu about the situation and thank him. With Teacher Miyu, our small office has become much more lively, Weda Ai said with a smile. Their office space is relatively small, with only 6 teachers. After all, Teacher Miyu is now in charge of the first-year teaching arrangements. Kimura Shanron nodded. I think Teacher Miyu's idea is really good. Why not just implement it in the whole school, and try it in the first grade first? Ikami Yong likes Miyu's big class plan very much, because he has the most classes among them. If there is a mechanism like big classes, he will definitely be much more relaxed in the future, and he will have more time to date the goddess. Miyu smiled and said nothing. When it was noon, an ninja found Miyu and asked Miyu to go to the Hokage's office. Miyu walked into the Hokage building and met Danzo on the way to the Hokage's office. Danzo. Miyu greeted Danzo. However, Danzo did not have the smile he had yesterday at the root. Danzo continued to move forward with a calm face, as if he did not hear Miyu's voice. Danzo and Miyu walked into the Hokage's office one by one. Danzo, remove the root curse on Miyu, the third generation said. Sandame Hokage, Miyu was surprised at first, and then wanted to explain something but was interrupted by the third Hokage. Miyu, I know you have a lot of doubts, let's talk about them later. The third Hokage interrupted. Stick out your tongue, Danzo said coldly. Miyu did as he was told and stuck out her tongue. Tongue curse root elimination. Solution. Danzo used his chakra and pointed at Miyu's tongue in the air, and the curse on Miyu's tongue quickly dissipated, leaving no trace, as if it had never existed. Humphrey. Danzo snorted coldly and left the Hokage's office without saying anything. Sandame-sama, I'm sorry. After Danzo left, Miyu looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen with a guilty look on his face. Miyu, how can you be sorry for me? I have to thank you for helping to take care of Asuma, Sarutobi Hiruzen said with a kind smile. His relationship with Asuma had been a little strained these days, but after being taught by Miyu on the weekend, the relationship eased a little, and Sarutobi Hiruzen naturally knew who was responsible for this. Asuma had a certain amount of power over Miyu because he helped her. Actually, I was sent to the ninja school by the root organization, Miyu confessed with a guilty look on her face. So what? Although Danzo's motive for sending you to the school was not pure, I can see that you are really teaching seriously and doing your best as you said. Otherwise, there would be no way to lead such an excellent class as the first grade, and there would be no way to improve the strength of the special training students in just 5 weeks and gain their trust, Sarutobi Hiruzen said with a smile. In fact, he also felt it was quite amazing that Miyu, an ordinary ninja who had no presence in the root, actually had an extraordinary talent in teaching and was sent to the ninja school by Danzo. But Miyu still looked guilty. How can there be so many buts? I promoted you to a special jonin, gave you ninjutsu, promoted you to the head of the grade, and brought you out of the route. Do I need to feel guilty for doing all this? What I need is for you to work harder to train better ninjas for Konoha in the future. Sarutobi Hiruzen pointed out his kindness to Miyu. Although he said that Miyu didn't need to feel guilty, the third generation still deliberately pointed out all the benefits he had given Miyu, because this is a great opportunity to brush up on her favorability. The more guilty Miyu feels about him, the more loyal she will be to him at that time. Miyu, you are a person with outstanding teaching talent. You can complete your teaching work in the ninja school with peace of mind in the future, and don't have to worry about other things, Sarutobi Hiruzen said with a smile. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 = 9 plus book bar. First published this novel. Sandame-sama, I understand. I will definitely work hard to bring out more outstanding students and train more outstanding ninjas for the village, Miyu said with a grateful look. In order to reduce the burden on teachers and to try new teaching methods, I plan to give large classes in the ninja school. Miyu took the opportunity to tell Sarutobi Hiruzen that he was going to give large classes, showing that he really cared about the education of the ninja school every day. It's indeed a good plan. Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded. Then Sarutobi Hiruzen jokingly sighed. If every teacher in the school has your teaching level, Miyu, I think this plan doesn't need to be piloted, just implement it directly. Then the atmosphere between the two became better and better. The third generation felt that he had obtained a reliable talent, and Miyu finally got rid of the curse that worried him. However, what made Miyu speechless was that Danzo was still uneasy about him and was still puaing him. After Miyu went home at night, he received another scroll from the root. However, this time the scroll did not have orders and tasks, it was all for brainwashing. The general content was that the reason why he was so cold to him during the day was that he was worried that Sarutobi Hiruzen would see that Miyu was still loyal to the root and to him. Danzo. In order for Miyu to have a better future with the third Hokage, Danzo acted cold and indifferent. Miyu was convinced. At noon, Sarutobi Hiruzen had a good impression of her, and when she came back in the evening, she had to read Danzo's Puwa scroll. This life was too exciting. After a day, Miyu felt that her acting skills had improved a lot. Miyu wrote calligraphy for 10 minutes to calm her mind, and then began to learn contract seals. After upgrading the 5 element seal to the proficient level, Miyu gained a lot of knowledge of sealing techniques, and learned the contract seal very quickly. By the time she was about to go to bed, she had already reached 20 points of proficiency in the contract seal. I wrote it a little hurriedly. If you see the wrong name or have any questions, please tell me and I will change it. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 123 The Magical Use of Shadow Clone Technique. Teacher Miyu, I think I succeeded. During the evening training, Obito suddenly said with a look of surprise. Try taijutsu? Attack me. Miyu took a look and said, although the strongest effect of the breath of flame is to enhance the power of fire style, it can also enhance physical ability to a certain extent. This is the function of all breathing methods and the first feature to appear. Obito is not yet at the stage where he can enhance fire style. Obito adjusted his breathing rhythm, recalled the feeling just now, inhaled a lot of oxygen into his body, strengthened his body, and then rushed towards Miyu in one step. Miyu steadily caught Obito's straight punch, and felt that Obito's speed was a little faster. He quickly threw Obito out, and Obito quickly kicked out a whirlwind kick. After holding Obito's leg and throwing Obito out, Miyu had already made a judgment in his heart. There is indeed a breakthrough. If you practice the breathing movements until the beginning of school, you should be able to proceed to the next step of training, Miyu said. When you proceed to the next step of training, you will gradually begin to show the characteristics of the breath of flame. not just a simple blessing of physical ability. We still have to practice for another 5 days. Obito recalled the date and said, he thought he could start practicing like Might Guy today. Bang! Muyu tapped Obito's head with 2 fingers together and said, don't be too ambitious. When Akai started to comprehend the attributes, his breathing method was much more proficient than yours. Now Obito has only 12 points of proficiency, and Might Guy had 19 points of proficiency when he started to comprehend the attributes of the breathing method. However, Might Guy's situation is a bit special. Muyu estimated that Obito's proficiency in the breath of fire should be more than 15 points in 5 days, and then he can proceed to the next step of practice. Muyu used the appraisal to take a look at Shisui, who was still getting used to breathing in various postures. Shisui's current progress in the breath of fire is still a little behind Obito, but the difference is not much, only 2 points of proficiency. I thought that as long as I can use the breathing method to strengthen it, it will be fine. Obito touched his head and said. Leaving the shadow clone to look after the two, Muyu's real body went to check on Might Guy's practice. How to describe Might Guy's training here? It's a bit abstract. Here you can see a stone with hands and feet stepping on a big stone and holding a stone in both hands. Okay, did you feel anything special today? Muyu asked. Yes, Might Guy replied. Muyu used an appraisal on Might Guy and found that he was still 19 points proficient. He was a little confused. Might Guy would not lie about his progress. The stones are really hot after being heated by the sun. Might Guy expressed his feelings. It was okay in the evening, but it was really hot to the hands and feet when the sun was at its hottest in the afternoon. Muyu didn't know what to say for a while. He felt that Obito had led Might Guy astray. When the sun is strong, find a cool place to sit on the stone. Muyu thought about it and said that he hadn't come here in the afternoon nor morning, so Might Guy should be practicing on his own. Muyu speculated that according to this progress, if Might Guy is fast, he should be able to enter the breathing of rock when he graduates, and if he is slow, it may take about 10 months. It was originally expected to take a year, but Might Guy had a rapid progress experience, which was equivalent to saving 2 months of time. After successfully entering the rock breathing, coupled with the improvement of physical fitness during the practice of rock breathing, and the learning of other physical skills, Muyu felt that it was time to let Might Guy try to complete the training task of challenging Kakashi. I wonder if the reward for the training task that spends nearly a year will be better, Muyu thought to himself. The ninja school is about to start, and there will be an exam 1 month after the start of school. At that time, Obito's training task will be settled, and Muyu should also think about how to let Obito trigger a new training task. If Obito loses to Might Guy again and takes second place, it is very simple, just brush the training task of taking first place again. If he gets first place, Muyu is ready to guide Obito to challenge Kakashi. This is a better choice at present, which is the result obtained by Muyu after analyzing a series of influencing factors such as Obito's personality, goals, dreams, interpersonal relationships, etc. Obito has the dream of becoming a Hokage, and now it seems that he can't brush out tasks that are too far away, such as Might Guy can't brush out the training task of becoming the strongest, and Shisui can't brush out the task of changing Uchiha. If it is closer, then it is only appropriate to challenge Kakashi. First of all, Kakashi is strong enough as a challenge target, which is related to the reward of the task. Secondly, he has a special relationship with Obito, so it is easier to trigger the task. Obito may have other ideas, such as liking Nohara Rin, but Muyu thinks that the system should not be able to brush out a task to teach Obito how to fall in love. Can that thing be called a training task? I wonder if there will be a disciple who can be promoted to trust level 4 by the end of this year. Muyu thought of the trust level that has not been promoted for a long time. Although the trust level is not very important, Muyu believes that trust is one of the core of the master-disciple system. When he was at trust level 2, no matter how much he mobilized his emotions, he did not brush out the mastery level reward. Only when he was at trust level 3 did he brush out mastery of nature change and mastery of physical skills. The training task was also triggered after trust level 3. Not to mention other things, just the double chakra increase brought by each trust level increase made Muyu want to raise the trust level of all disciples to the maximum. Even if Obito and the others are still young, the triple bonus of 3 people can provide him with a lot of chakra in a month. When the disciples grow up, the difference will be even greater. Imagine that Muyu has trained a disciple with more than 100,000 chakras from scratch. Then each trust level is a difference of more than 100,000 chakras. Muyu feels that his chi is still very powerful, but it takes time to develop. Give him time, and he will sooner or later develop into an all-round and invincible strong man with chakra. Speaking of which, school is about to start again, and I feel that this vacation is so short. When the training was about to end, Obito sighed. It was almost a 2-month vacation, but he felt like only a few days had passed, because it's very fulfilling. I train in the training ground during the day, and I have to train with teacher Muyu at night. Nohara Rin said softly. This vacation is very short for all 4th-year students, and they also had 5 weeks of special training during the vacation. I feel that it's better to continue special training before school starts, and my strength will improve faster. Obito missed the special training. Obito, don't you want to learn theoretical knowledge? Nohara Rin asked. When Obito was practicing shaving and racing against Might Guy, Nohara Rin had seen Obito receive the test paper with a painful look on his face. Of course not, I just think that practice is more important than theory. Obito refused to admit it. In fact, you can use clones, Shisui said. Let the clone go to school, and the main body can continue to practice. Since the first exam in the 1st grade, Shisui has not gone to class. It is always the shadow clone who goes to class. He only goes to class for exams. Can the clone of the clone jutsu last that long? It seems too easy to disappear. It is easy to be discovered. Obito asked in confusion. It's not the clone jutsu? It's the shadow clone jutsu. Shisui shook his head and said, the clone created by the shadow clone jutsu has a physical body and the same consciousness as the main body. After the shadow clone is removed, the memory of the shadow clone will also return, and it is no different from going to class yourself, Shisui explained. So it's such a convenient ninjutsu. Obito was shocked. Although he watched Muyu use the shadow clone every day, he never thought that he could use the shadow clone to go to school instead of the main body. Shisui, you are so skilled, could it be that? Obito looked at Shisui with surprise. I only went to class before the first exam, and then the shadow clone went to class, and the real body practiced here, Shisui answered calmly. Obito grabbed Shisui's shoulders with joy and said, Shisui, you are really a genius. You have thought of such a good way. Obito thought it was very strange. Shisui was stronger than him, but he practiced hard every day, but the gap in strength did not narrow at all. It turned out that Shisui practiced intensively every day. Putting aside the matter of strength growth, the key is that he doesn't have to go to the ninja school for class, and the memory of learning will automatically appear in his mind after finishing the work. I would like to call the person who developed the shadow clone technique the clone sage. He is definitely a super genius. Obito couldn't help but praise. In just a moment, Obito thought of the use of the shadow clone other than going to school, such as letting the shadow clone do the questions, so that he doesn't need to do the questions himself. The questions are solved, and he can also gain experience in doing questions. This technique was developed by the 2nd generation Hokage, Senjudo Bairama. There seems to be a related record in Konoha history too. Nohara Rin thought for a while and said, so it was the 2nd generation Hokage, no wonder he could develop such a ninjutsu. Obito wrote down the name Senjudo Bairama, solving the 2 major troubles of learning theory and doing exercises at once. Obito recognized Senjudo Bairama as the 2nd generation Hokage. Looking at Obito's excited face, Shisui felt that Obito might have thought something wrong. If he just hated learning theory and let the shadow clone go to school, then it would be meaningless, because the moment the shadow clone came back, Obito would get the same feeling as the original body when he went to school. This is what Teacher Muyu told me. Shisui shook his head and said, Teacher Muyu, you are a little biased. You didn't tell me such a good thing. Obito looked at Muyu with an extremely resentful look. Pa. Muyu knocked on Obito's head and explained, Shisui can use shadow clones to go to school because Shisui can no longer learn anything in school and can't find an opponent. Can you do it at that time? In fact, there are some other reasons. At that time, Obito was not as active in training as he is now. Obito thought about it and it seemed that he was indeed not very good. That time he didn't even make the top 2. He and Might Guy were eliminated by the Hyuga Kamen. Hey, Muyu teacher. Mine should be fine now. I also want to learn the shadow clone technique. Obito's resentful eyes instantly turned into desire and expectation. Teacher, I want to learn it too. Hearing that he could go to school instead of the original body, Might Guy was also tempted. Although he was just slow in learning ninjutsu, he was not incapable of learning ninjutsu. I will teach you tomorrow morning. From tomorrow to the day before school starts, practice all day for the next 4 days. Muyu thought about it and said, read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 = 9 plus book _ bar released this novel for the first time. Although he had work to do at the ninja school, it was almost done there. It would be enough to send a shadow clone to do the next thing. Anyway, there were no courses for him to earn rewards. As for why it was 4 days instead of 5 days for full training, it was because if he used the shadow clone to go to school, the amount of training this semester would be greatly increased. That day would be regarded as a holiday before the hard training. The next morning, Obito couldn't wait to go to the South Forest to learn the shadow clone technique, which was the god-level ninjutsu in his mind. Muyu planned the training time for them, from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Half of it was used to learn ninjutsu and the other half was used to practice breathing techniques. Shisui, who had already learned it, practiced other ninjutsu in that half of the time. From 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. was the rest time. They could go home to eat and take a nap. If they didn't go back, Muyu would cook for them. Then from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m., they had to go home to eat by themselves. Lin, I told you not to leave at noon. You must try the cooking of teacher Muyu once, Obito reminded. Because of the time she joined, Nohara-Lin had not eaten the food cooked by Muyu yet. The food cooked by Muyu was so delicious that Obito would eat here and then go home to see his grandmother and take a rest. Could it be that teacher Muyu is also very good at cooking? Nohara-Rin was a little curious. He is not the kind of person who will have a problem. He is really that kind of person. Very special. Obito described it incoherently for a while. In short, I have never eaten anything better than teacher Muyu's cooking, Obito concluded. Nohara-Rin, who was originally preparing to go home for lunch at noon, nodded. Obito's description was too exaggerated, which made her a little curious. How delicious must it be for Obito to praise it so much? When the training time came, Nohara-Rin put away her curiosity and began to practice according to Muyu's instructions. When using the shadow clone technique, you must do it within your ability. Now it is best for you to only split one shadow clone. Muyu told Obito and Might Guy the dangers of the shadow clone technique. The shadow clone technique looks like an ordinary ninjutsu, but it is actually dangerous. In order to prevent people from not knowing their own strengths and weaknesses, the multiple shadow clones that can split into a large number of shadow clones at once were directly listed as forbidden techniques. After explaining the dangers, Muyu began to teach. The difficulty of learning the shadow clone technique is B, but it is one of the B-level ninjutsu that is easy to learn and not very difficult. After learning for 2 hours, Obito began to seal and release the shadow clone. Shadow clone technique. A white smoke flashed by, and a lying Obito appeared. Missed. Try again. Obito released the shadow clone and performed it again. The white smoke flashed, and a fat version of Obito appeared. Obito was afraid of being seen by Nohara-Rin, so he quickly released the shadow clone and said with a serious look on his face, "It is worthy of being the ninjutsu invented by the second-generation Hokage. This difficulty is very unusual, much more difficult than the clone technique. Ha ha ha. What are you doing, Kai?" Obito couldn't hold it anymore after seeing Might Guy's shadow clone. I saw a stone with hands and feet standing next to Might Guy, who is still practicing. Well, my head has been full of rocks these days, and this happened accidentally. Might Guy couldn't help laughing. Haha, this is too funny. I'll ask Shisui to come and have a look. Obito couldn't stop smiling at the devilish stone face. Konoha whirlwind. The stone shadow clone directly kicked hard, and kicked Obito, who was laughing so hard that he couldn't stand up, away with a whirlwind kick, and then continued to lift things on the spot. Okay, why did you hit me? Obito spit out the grass in his mouth and asked Might Guy. It was the shadow clone who did it. You should ask him. Might Guy didn't think he hit Obito. Akai shadow clone. Why did you hit me? Obito thought it made sense, so he asked the shadow clone. However, the stone shadow clone did not respond. Obito suddenly thought of something. This shadow clone had no mouth, so how could he speak? Then Obito had no chance to continue questioning, because Might Guy released the shadow clone. Muyu's mouth twitched as he looked at this abstract scene. Obito and Might Guy were geniuses and the shadow clone. It's time to practice the breathing method. Muyu reminded the two that it was time to practice the breathing method. When it was time for the breathing method, the positions of the people changed. Obito and Shisui practiced the breathing of fire together, and Might Guy practiced the breathing of rock alone. Shisui, you can't imagine how funny things just happened. Obito was ready to share the fun he had just had with Shisui. Oh, Shisui was a little curious. Might Guy and Obito should have been practicing the shadow clone just now. He didn't understand what funny things could happen when practicing the shadow clone. Just now, Akai split a stone with hands and feet. Obito still felt funny when he recalled it now. In order to make Shisui understand more clearly, Obito used the clone technique to split a clone that looked like Might Guy, and then used the transformation technique to become the appearance of Might Guy's shadow clone just now. The clone that looked like Might Guy made a confused look while Obito stood beside him and imitated the stone shadow clone lifting something. Your shadow clones are very unique. Shisui had to admit that Obito and Might Guy were good at making things happen. As the happy training time passed, it was soon time for the meal that all the disciples were looking forward to. Wow, is it magic Mapo tofu today? Zealand, you are in for a treat. Opening the lunchbox and seeing the food inside, Obito's appetite was instantly excited. Muyu's dishes are all delicious, but there are also some differences among them. Magic Mapo tofu is one of the most delicious ones that Obito thinks. Nohara-rin looked at the bright red in the lunchbox and felt a little uneasy. It looked too spicy. We can't waste food and we can't let down teacher Muyu. With this thought in mind, Nohara-rin closed her eyes and scooped a spoonful of food into her mouth with a spoon. So spicy, so delicious. As soon as she took the first bite, Nohara-rin instantly fell in love with this dish. Unlike the spicy food she imagined, the spiciness of the magic Mapo tofu was not so rough, and there were other equally excellent flavors. She finally understood why Obito praised Muyu's cooking skills so much. Nohara-rin wanted to learn to cook from Muyu, so that she could eat such delicious food every day without bothering Muyu. Chapter 124 Disagreement on the Mission. After 2.5 days of training, Obito finally mastered the shadow clone technique on the afternoon of the third day. Shadow clone technique. Obito formed a seal to condense chakra. Bang! A white smoke flashed by, and an Obito who looked exactly like Obito, neither fat, thin, nor short, appeared beside Obito. Finally succeeded, Obito exclaimed with joy. He could already imagine how comfortable his future life would be. The shadow clone would go to school, do homework, work, and play with Lin. No, the real body would go. That's great. Might Guy silently removed his shadow clone whose skin was the same color as rock. He also wanted the shadow clone to go to school. From now on, you will go to school, and I'll leave the homework to you, Obito said to the shadow clone happily. However, the shadow clone gave Obito an unexpected answer. Why should I go to school? The shadow clone asked. The question of the shadow clone stumped Obito. Obito thought for a moment and replied, because you are my shadow clone. You are Uchiha Obito, and I am also Uchiha Obito. Why can't you go to school and do the homework? The shadow clone said with reason. Because. Obito scratched his head and felt that what the shadow clone said made sense. Why don't I eat Muyu teacher's food in the future, so that you can get delicious memories and don't have to worry about getting fat? The shadow clone suggested. I can also help you play with Zealand, so that you have more time to practice. No, this is absolutely not possible. Obito waved his hands and shook his head frantically. Why do you? You're a shadow clone. Only think about eating, drinking and having fun. Obito suddenly found a problem. Don't you also want to throw those annoying things to me and then eat, drink and have fun yourself? the shadow clone said unceremoniously. Obito had nothing to say and directly removed the shadow clone technique. Teacher Muyu, haven't I learned the shadow clone technique yet? Obito asked in confusion. He felt that there was something wrong with his shadow clone. Muyu used the appraisal to look at Obito, and the shadow clone had already entered the door. You have already learned it, and you don't need to learn this ninjutsu next, Muyu replied. But I feel that I haven't learned it yet. This shadow clone is not right. Obito felt that he still had to learn. The idea of the shadow clone is the same as the original body, Muyu said tactfully. The ninja world is very large and there are many talents. It's nothing for Obito to quarrel with the shadow clone. There will be another ninja who fights with the shadow clone in the future. Hehe. Then I will start practicing breathing. Obito showed an embarrassed smile. He understood what Muyu meant. If the original body wants to be lazy, then the clone also wants to be lazy. Obito's score for the second generation Hokage dropped a little. Although this ninjutsu is good, there are still many places that are not considered carefully. A fulfilling life always passes quickly, and time soon came to the last day before school starts. Everyone, take a rest tomorrow. Those who want to play can play. Those who don't want to play can lie in the yard and think about life. After today, there won't be much rest time. Of course, if you really want to practice, you can come here. I will practice here, Muyu said. Lin, let's go play together tomorrow. Obito chose to rest tomorrow. After all, Muyu strongly recommended rest. Yeah, no, Harlan nodded and agreed. After all, he had refused once before, and it was the last day of school, so he could really relax. Then let's go find Kakashi together tomorrow morning and call him to join us. No, Harlan thought for a while and said. Obito's original joy was instantly reduced. He actually wanted the two of them to be together. But since no Harlan was going to call Kakashi, Obito asked Might Guy, aka, do you want to go play together? No, I'm going to practice rock breathing tomorrow. Might Guy refused. From the study of the shadow clone, it is not difficult to see that Might Guy only has rock breathing in his mind now. What about Shisui? Obito looked at Shisui. Just have fun. I'm still a long way behind in my progress in flame breathing. I'm going to practice for a day tomorrow, Shisui replied. Shisui had always been ahead in all kinds of practice before, but he was the worst at breathing. Although the difference was not much, there was a gap compared to before. He wanted to practice more to catch up with Obito's progress. Obito's joy was reduced again. It felt like there were 4 people in the dormitory, and on the weekend, someone suggested going out to play, but only 2 people went out, and the remaining 2 said they wanted to study in the dormitory. How could they still have fun? It's just one day. I won't learn anything by practicing for one more day, Obito comforted himself. The next day, in the morning, Nohara Rin and Obito met at the designated place, and then they went to Kakashi's house together. The two were lucky. Kakashi did not do the task today, but sat at home in a daze thinking about life. Kakashi, do you want to go out to play together? Nohara Rin asked with a smile. Obito and I will start school tomorrow, and we may not have much time after school starts. Isn't it quite free to go to ninja school? Kakashi asked in confusion. He felt that he was too free when he was in school. That's because Kakashi, you are so awesome, Nohara Rin praised. Then let's go. Kakashi agreed. Anyway, he didn't have anything to do today. Seeing Kakashi agreed, Obito's mouth, which was about to curl up, fell again. Damn Kakashi, as a ninja, you don't do your mission well and rest all day. Obito lowered his head and complained in a low voice. Obito, you are a little, bang. Before Nohara Rin finished speaking, Obito, who didn't pay attention to the road when walking, bumped into the telephone pole. Damn Kakashi, can't you put this telephone pole in a place where it won't be bumped by people? This was the second time Obito bumped into it. He felt that the location of this telephone pole was very problematic. Kakashi, if there really is such a place, I will help you find your brain and eyes first. Kakashi replied. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 = 9 plus book _ bar published this novel for the first time. He felt that Obito would feel uncomfortable if he was not attacked. The position of the electric pole was not decided by him. Okay, don't quarrel. Rub it and it won't hurt, Nohara Rin said softly. then walked to Obito and gently rubbed the place where Obito had just hit. "How is it? Is it better?" Nohara-rin asked softly. He. Obito felt Nohara-rin's soft little hand and showed a satisfied smile. Although he didn't hear what Nohara-rin asked clearly, he still nodded. "Then let's continue walking," Nohara-rin said with a smile. "Kakashi, have you had breakfast?" Nohara-rin asked when she thought of something. Obito came with her, so she knew that Obito had not eaten like her. "Not yet." Kakashi shook his head and said, "That's good. I recently heard that a delicious dango shop opened on the street. The three-color dango, and it is delicious," Nohara-rin explained. Led by Nohara-rin, the three of them went to the newly opened dumpling shop on the street. Each of the three bought one portion, 3 skewers per portion. "It looks good," Nohara-rin said, looking at the round 3-color dumplings on the small plate. "Not as good as Muyu's tempura," Obito commented after eating. "You are the only one who can compare two completely different foods," Kakashi said after eating a small dumpling. "Well, the red one is filled with red beans, which is very good, but I think strawberry filling will be better." Nohara-rin was not affected by Obito's words and took a bite and said, "Although Muyu's cooking is delicious, desserts and main meals are two different tracks." "Kakashi, can you briefly describe the life of a formal ninja?" "Obito and I will graduate in 2 semesters," Nohara-rin asked curiously. "Training and missions," Kakashi answered simply. "You are too simple. It's the same as not saying anything." Obito couldn't help but complain. "Is there anything I need to pay attention to?" Nohara-rin didn't care and continued to ask. "Ninja, the mission is above everything else, and completing the mission is the first priority." Kakashi thought for a while and said, "I feel like Kakashi, you are like a mature adult." Nohara-rin said jokingly, "What mission is above everything else?" "It must be companions. If the mission fails, there is still a chance to make up for it. If the companions die, there is no way to revive." Obito disagreed with Kakashi's concept. "So you are still a student now, and I have already been a chunin," Kakashi said mercilessly. "You are too naive. If some missions fail, it will bring great losses to the village. That is not comparable to the life and death of one person. I will definitely become a better ninja than you in the future to prove it to you." Obito was very unconvinced but had no choice. He really didn't have the capital to refute Kakashi now, because he was not even a ninja yet. Okay, you will definitely be excellent ninjas in the future. Let's go shopping in the commercial street, Nohara-rin suggested. Then the three of them were basically led by Nohara-rin to walk around. At noon, they went to the forest for a picnic. Obito suggested to catch fish in the river and grill them. "Don't drown. This river doesn't look shallow," Kakashi warned. "Don't underestimate me. I have chakra." Obito stepped directly on the water with a wooden stick tied to a kunai. "Can you already tread water?" Kakashi was a little surprised. Although he was still far away, Obito was indeed not the last place Obito he had in his impression before. He mastered the changes in the nature of fire attributes, and his ninjutsu looked quite good. Now he has mastered treading water. The fish was grilled by Kakashi. He has lived alone for a long time and has mastered many survival skills. Obito looked at Nohara-rin praising Kakashi for grilling fish well, and secretly vowed to learn cooking from Muyu when he had time. Only Kakashi, he didn't want to lose in any aspect. Chapter 125, Strange Power. "Izumo, how was your vacation?" "It's hard to describe. How about you, Zilly?" "Still playing a game with my vicious cousin." "How vicious is he?" "He actually ignored the peace agreement signed before and reactivated that vicious plan. My parents have told me about it several times. He is indeed vicious, but I'm not someone who can be bullied." "I pretended to accidentally knock off a leg and an arm of his favorite statue of the third Hokage." "You are worthy of it." Shinryu Izumo gave Gang Ziddy a thumbs up, thinking that you are still more vicious. "What about you, Izumo? Why is it hard to describe?" Gang Ziddy asked. "Didn't I have a crush on a girl next door before? I was thinking about getting a good grade in the final exam and approaching her again as a strong person." "Then, did you succeed?" "No, I thought about it for a few days, and then I started the summer special training. I practiced every day and forgot about it. When I remembered it later, I found that she was playing with other boys." "It's okay, maybe that's her relative." After hearing the result, Gang Ziti finally let go of his hanging heart, so he comforted her. It can't be a relative, it must not be a relative. Gang Ziti thought to himself, don't you two go out to play? Recently I found a new dumpling shop that's pretty good. Hongdu interrupted. The two were not interested in the dumpling shop that Hongdu mentioned, unless Hongdu had a cute good sister to go with her. By the way, I just looked at the class schedule and it seems that today is a physical training class. Gang Ziti remembered something. I wonder who the new physical training teacher will be. Miyu told them that the physical training teacher would be changed during the summer special training, but she didn't tell them who the new physical training teacher was. It doesn't matter who it is, it shouldn't be possible for them to teach worse than Mr. Tanimura, Shanu Chu-yun said. After being taught physical skills by Miyu during the summer special training, he felt that Tanimura Toshihiro simply didn't know what to teach when he was in school. I hope I can be 2/3 of Mr. Miyu's level, then I will be very satisfied. Gang Ziti felt that his requirements were not high. Go to the playground and prepare for class, Miyu said as he walked into the classroom. Are you, Mr. Miyu, going to be the physical skills teacher this semester? Hongdu asked excitedly. Yes, Miyu smiled and nodded. Great, if there's a special training next holiday, I will definitely be able to enter Group B. Gang Ziti cheered. He expected that 2/3 of Miyu would be enough, but this time Miyu herself came, which was far beyond his expectations. The whole class cheered, and it was really good news for them that Miyu came to be the physical skills teacher. Everyone, be quiet, don't be too excited, and practice first. Miyu smiled and said. Then Miyu took class 1 to the playground to practice, feeling the long-lost relaxed atmosphere of class. Some students sighed, the vacation is too long. A month ago, I missed the time of Miyu's class. Yes. And there's really nothing fun to do after a long vacation. I was very bored when I was on vacation for half a month. Listening to the discussion of the classmates, Gang Ziti and Shanu Chu-yun couldn't help but feel that people's joys and sorrows are not connected. Students like them who have experienced summer special training may only have a vacation for half a month in total. Teacher Tanimura said before that taijutsu and ninjutsu are different and can't be taught too detailed. I think Teacher Miyu is very detailed. Because it was the first time to take a taijutsu class from another teacher, the students subconsciously compared Miyu with Tanimura Ninehong. Everyone, practice seriously and discuss after class, Miyu reminded gently. This semester, he is in charge of Class 1, Grade 1. And Miyu will teach all theoretical taijutsu and ninjutsu. Miyu wants to create an absolutely strongest class, which can not only brush the system's improvement rewards, but also prove his value in teaching. If it was Tanimura Toshihiro, they would practice and then refute, but it was Miyu who spoke, and everyone was quiet in an instant, all trying hard to practice. Lecture completed. Evaluation. A. Reward. Painful foot. Miyu's mind flashed with the practice memory related to painful foot. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 = 9 plus book bar first published this novel. He remembered that this was Tsunade's physical technique, which was very plain and unpretentious, and the main feature was a powerful brick flying, and a kick could crack the ground. However, this seemingly plain physical technique is actually not simple, and it requires special chakra burst techniques. This technique can greatly increase strength and can be called super strength. The reward is not bad, mastering one more chakra technique, and it can also be passed on to Nohara Lin. Although it is a physical technique, painful foot is not suitable for Might Guy, because this technique is very challenging to the level of chakra control and requires fine operation of chakra. The theory class in the afternoon is a large class, and it will be held in the large lecture hall where the meeting is held. Miyu reminded before leaving. Big class? What big class? The students were a little confused. They noticed that the theoretical class on the timetable had the classroom they were supposed to go to, but they didn't know why it was like that. The theoretical class in the afternoon is for 4 classes together, and there will be students from class 2, 3, and 4 at that time, Miyu explained. With so many people in class together, wouldn't it be very lively? Some students felt pretty good. Isn't this just like the special training? Shanu Chu-yun felt a little familiar. Miyu didn't explain too much. In fact, It was just 4 classes together, and there was nothing special about it. This kind of big class tests students' self-control more, because there are too many people and the teacher can't manage it. It's impossible to pay attention to everyone at the same time. Of course, that was in Miyu's previous world. It's different here. The teacher is a ninja and a Superman. Miyu didn't know what other teachers thought. He felt that theoretical classes wouldn't be too difficult to manage. Ziti, Chu-yun, what is the special training you are talking about? Why do you feel that you have become much stronger? After class, some students who were familiar with Gang Ziti Shenu Chu-yun asked. There will be 2 exams in a semester, and they study together every day, as classmates. They are familiar with each other's strengths, and Gang Ziti and Shenu Chu-yun have made great progress, so it is easy to notice. During the previous holiday, Teacher Miyu organized a summer special training, and took us and a group of 4th grade students to train for 5 weeks. Gang Ziti explained, it's basically all 4th grade students. There are only 8 people in the whole grade like us from other grades who can go. Gang Ziti raised his head slightly when he said this. Although his actual combat score did not make it into the top 3 in the class, he was able to enter the top 8 in his grade. Some people expressed envy, while others felt that it was too tiring. They had a 5-week special training not long after the holiday, and school would start soon after the special training. I had diarrhea today, 4 times in one night, so the update is a little late. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.